I'm not a sub anymore.
This went live.
Live. Hello, everybody. Hello. Thank you for joining us. We're here once again with you. Thank you for sharing this fine moment with us. What exactly are we doing here? We're here to play Call of Cthulhu, as we always are, here each week at the Stream of Chaos, the home for Chaosium's live plays on Twitch. I'm joined, as I always am, by these fine folks. To my right over here, I have...
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's quite all right. Did I miss you being very surprised at the start of the hello?
Oh yeah, I'm a bit sick, so I wasn't surprised by anything anymore. Hey, I'm Jackson. I'm playing Joseph Fisher. When we last met, he was saving the life of a respected older man of our community. Before Klaus tried to kill him for a second time.
I wasn't gonna kill him.
So that's what he's got going on.
Fair enough. Yes, I mean there was a respected, fine, elderly gentleman.
I want to go next.
Okay.
I'm David. I was upholding justice.
Absolutely fair enough. Yes. We'll jump back into.
Not Klaus. You were upholding justice.
Oh yeah.
Is that what you
Whoops.
said?
I played Klaus. He was upholding justice. Damn it.
And over to my left.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I play Percy Holmgren, who is he's always like a former something. He's a former photographer, former filmmaker,
Former convict.
former convict,
Former homeless.
and currently doesn't have a lot going on for himself.
Formerly employed, formerly doing well. Yes, well, fantastic. We are playing Call of Cthulhu, and we are playing Berlin the Wicked City. This is going to be our grand finale of Berlin the Wicked City. We are reaching the point where, one way or another, this scenario, which is one of 3 scenarios in the book, is going to end, and we will see exactly what happens to our investigators, to Berlin, and by extension, to the world at large. If you enjoy seeing what's happened in Berlin the Wicked City, there is still an amazing scenario in there which we will not be playing, a scenario called Shrek Film, which you should absolutely check out because it is very wonderful. So let's jump right in, let's finish things off, and let's start with a little reminder of what happened last week. So, in the final installment of Berlin the Wicked City, our investigators will be forced to leap to action or see the city fall. Last session, our investigators tracked down one of the culprits behind the disastrous ritual that plunged Berlin into chaos. The culprit was an elderly dollmaker who had used strange golems to sap the life force of Berlin for years. The investigators realized the mysterious phone calls they'd received must have come from one of these automatons, and that the ringleader of the strange ritual appeared to be Gregor, the owner of the occult bookshop. Alban Grau and Henri were just pawns in the larger affair. After discovering the supposed location of the animated vessel for an ancient Babylonian god, our investigators have little time to act. Can they put an end to the chaos? And can they save the city? I'm not reading that. You're not getting me this time. He put butts in again, which is better.
Yes,
I smelled
got
it.
him.
I think, I read it. Look at that. So,
Well, should we mention where this
absolutely,
came
yes.
from?
If you would like to jump in and have a read of what I just wrote, plus a bunch of notes and a bunch of character points, you can jump into the link that. Does anyone want to post it in the chat for people to?
I'm not in it yet. I'm pulling it up.
Okay,
Please.
fantastic.
Do I just copy and paste the order?
Yeah,
Go
that's
right ahead.
Public.
And you can see the notes that we've kept throughout this campaign that we have digitized. We have some notes that we
Flawless
have
notes.
not managed to digitize, but that is quite all right. Anyway. So continuing on, let's jump right back into things because we've got a lot to get through this session.
Oh, no.
We'll be talking about what's coming next as well at the end of this session, so stick around for that. Now, you were just leaving when we last took a break, the house of the dollmaker, right? You left it behind and swept off back into the city streets, which is still blowing crazily with wind, and you can hear noise and chaos all around you. In the distance, as you probably head towards the car, you can actually probably hear gunshots echoing out. It appears that the situation on the street is rapidly deteriorating further and further. Now, you have a couple of leads just to remind you. First of all, you know that there are some explosives that you found, Joseph, that you had planted near the Ishtar Gate at one of the large museums.
Original Joseph had planted.
Yes.
Because I'm currently playing Mirror Joseph.
Exactly.
Legally
Fair
distinct. Legally distinct.
Sheriff.
So you're not quite sure what the plan is, or you know that's not all of the explosives, but it appears to be some of them. It is a piece of the puzzle, though, and you could possibly try to reverse engineer things from there. You also know of a seedy bar called the Hundesgustav, which it appears that the vessel that the dollmaker had created, upon leaving his workshop, went straight for there and appeared to have gone on further to arrive at a large theatre in the center of Berlin, center of the red light district of Berlin, called the Grobisch Boilhaus, and I'm going to pronounce that terribly. Schauspielhaus, which is a large theaterette building which basically has pornographic films playing in it for most of the time. Your final lead is that you are still aware of the location of the automaton that was calling you. You have the address in the red light district where these calls were coming from, so you could possibly chase that up. All of you are a little bit tense at this stage. You two were dealing very hands-on. Percy, you didn't grab the wounded man in the... No, you didn't. So you're probably... Your clothes are probably clean. These two, particularly yourself, you probably have blood on you. Klaus, you got, your shirt sleeves are torn because you ripped them up to provide bandages and then ripped them back. And as you all arrive at the car, you sort of glance around. You can see that there's now like debris strewn in the streets and stuff like that. Bottles, trash, broken tree branches. As you look around, you see that there's like an abandoned car, sort of just sitting in the middle of the road further up. And you can hear more yelling. You can hear more noise. It's all very distant. It's beginning to get a little bit later in the day. It's probably about 3 or 4 p.m. at this stage, and the sun is beginning to set. Everyone's a little bit quiet and tense after the ordeal in the dollhouse. What would you like to do?
Where are we going? Will we chase her?
Surely that is the most reasonable thing to do.
Well, as I'm the one supplying the vehicle, yes, I think we will. Where was it that she was going exactly?
The windows.
You know that she apparently is headed towards this large theater. She's apparently there specifically. So you're not chasing her as such. You are going to where she is.
Because that theater is at the center of the dome.
That's where the
as
dome
it was
is, yeah.
in Mirror Berlin.
But that's different to the mega porn theater.
No, I think
that's approximately the same location. Yes,
It's the
that would
same
be
place.
approximately the same
Hot
location.
dog. If we're going to be confronting any sort of god in a different form or anything, I mean, look at this wind that is whipping about the city. I think we should arm ourselves a little, at least.
With what? We don't have any guns or anything, do we?
Guns are quite hard to come by.
Yes, but where would we get guns?
Would I know where to get weapons at all?
Well,
I
were
hunt at some point, but that's probably the extent of it.
Yeah, well, you some weapons, yes, you're a fencer, so you would probably know how to get a crazy amount of swords, but that is a limited amount of effectiveness, considering that your companions aren't particularly trained swordsmen. But you're also huge, though, so you might just be able to. Although you're not particularly strong,
not very
you're
strong.
kind of lanky. So guns in particular. You served as a photographer, but I'll ask these two to roll education tests. This will be hard education tests because it's relating to something that you did but was not explicitly part of your job description. And this is because you both served in the war, of course.
Hot damn! I did it.
You did it.
34
well
out of 80.
34, fantastic.
Not a fumble.
Not a fumble. Okay.
One gun, please.
Here you go. I actually have one. No. Klaus, you probably realistically, you know that all of the well-to-do folks who you associated with handed in their guns and abided by the law with much grumbling and groaning, and possibly, you could you could go to obey the law above all things. Possibly, you could track down one of your friends who has an old shotgun or a hunting rifle hidden away in the attic, but it would be in a position to even get to them, and they'd probably live out in the country and stuff like that, and use it for hunting. Now, Joseph, you have a little more criminal contacts, and as you begin to go through, you're pretty sure that you could put hands. You have friends who deal in the black market and deal in the selling of arms.
Do I have these friends, or are these friends of der Holzbeinheld?
Well,
They're held, man. You have to do it with like the kind of like otherworldliness of Google Translate, where you don't quite sound like a
They're
human.
Holzbeinheld.
I think I busted
No,
it.
I thought that sounded better than Google
That was
Translate.
fine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think because you're still slightly sick and you don't
Yes,
quite sound like
yeah.
Jackson, so I think it's
I
actually
actually sound a little bit more like Joseph. Der Holzbeinheld for new viewers is, of course, the alter ego of Joseph, the wooden leg hero who stalks the street of Berlin's.
The alter
Watcher,
ego of the
protector
mirror
of the night.
version.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's a few.
that's true.
We're getting positively DC in our
Yeah.
level of these would be people that you would know underworld contacts from when you were you, essentially, when
Right.
you had when you had more agency and activity. You are pretty sure that your alter ego probably has a vast number of contacts, but you would not be able to put those to hand very easily.
Okay.
Yes.
What do I have to do to get a gun?
Okay. You're basically you're gonna have to go home. You're gonna have to start lingering around in bars where you're gonna know people. You're gonna have to. It'll take you a couple of hours.
I don't know if we have time to linger.
We look at the wind that's whipping around.
I don't
a
think
small
we're on a-
child that's flung across the street.
What I will be
On
asking
a
you to
lingering
do.
schedule right now.
You will be making a credit rating check, essentially, based on your reputation. Now you have pretty low credit rating, but what I will let you do if Klaus or Percy are so kind, as I think Percy is poorer than you currently, but if Klaus is so kind to lend money to this endeavor, you can roll using his credit rating score, but you will actually be the one who has to roll because you are going to be trying to track down these people.
What?
I mean, you could just steal a gun. I mean, isn't this
I'm
the
happy
world
to
at stake?
supply a loan. I've been famously generous with loans.
That's fine. I can
They
get
are then tracked.
us some weapons, but I need some money up front.
Well, I'm happy to aid in any way I can.
Excellent.
How
Aid in
much
procuring these weapons?
money are we talking?
These weapons that will save our life and perhaps the lives of tens of thousands in the city.
And I will aid in any way I can.
Excellent. How much do I need?
I'll tell you what.
Fat stack.
You're,
Just give me a fat stack.
Fat
I have no idea what money means anymore.
do you carry your money on you, or do you let
I
your
have a checkbook.
Yeah, okay.
Is checkbooks a thing?
Checkbooks would be a thing.
I have a
Absolutely.
checkbook. I keep like a few wads in the trunk of
Yeah.
the car.
Oh, your
Arms
driver.
dealers take checks. That seems.
Yeah, it's fine. It's authentic. It'll be alright. I can get golden bullions if that would help. Is that how arms dealers are done? I have art. Do they trade in fine prints or potteries? I have a few horses of considerable racing value. There's a vehicle. They could loan them a motorcycle or something for a time.
Yeah, so time is short.
There's
So
properties.
I'm
not very
You
liquid.
have cash.
Yes. Wheelbarrows on.
Cash.
The pool is full. Yes, I have cash. I can.
Your driver at this stage overhearing your conversation, and he, in a burst of professionalism, which should surely earn him some kind of promotion, makes
sure.
not even a slight face at you trying to get a hold of a gun, and merely goes over and opens the emergency kit in the back of your car and pulls out a couple of wads of cash.
Who can pull a gun?
That'd be great. And he's going to hand them to you.
But I have emergency wads of cash. It's like the tire breaks, and I go, money.
You could I'm sure you could put money inside the
it's
tire.
like
It's like putting moss
straw in it or
exactly.
grass.
Exactly. So that is going to take you a couple of hours. That'll probably lead you. Unfortunately, it's a pretty good time to be doing this. So you can functionally roll that. But before you do that, that is a commitment that will take you a couple hours. Do you want to lock into that? The two of you could do something else in the meantime. The two of you could prepare. You could go back. You keep the saber on you ceremonially. Your ceremonial saber is not your favorite saber either. You could go home and get your well sharpened foil and put on you could be coming into this looking like a knight. And Percy, you could use a shower, frankly.
Surely I can get something that I can hit people with.
Oh, absolutely. You can.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, you very easily. You stole a bike the other session. You'll be able to find, there's a crowbar in the back of Klaus's car, which you can pick up immediately.
Are there any other crowbars?
You'll be able to find another crowbar.
You're free to take it. I'll just note it down, and then as long as it's returned to me at the end.
Okay.
I'm putting it down.
You know what? Fine. I'll fine.
To Percy. There you
With interest.
go. 2 crowbars.
You want a crowbar back that is slightly longer.
Take a crowbar. Yeah, done.
Yes.
Yeah. Why don't you and I return to my villa? I will get dressed and acquire anything extra. Can you think of anything further we might need?
I'll also remind you that beyond just the atmosphere of like feeling pretty nervous about confronting a potential god, it is looking pretty nasty on the streets just at this point. You know, you probably wouldn't feel uncomfortable about being armed just going outside at this stage.
Okay.
Are they still like? Are the streets getting busier as people like overcome with these hedonistic impulses?
At this stage, you are sort of in a pretty quiet area. You are in the Jewish quarter down sort of but you're relatively near the red light district, and you can hear noises emanating from there. Like I said, you hear the occasional gunshot, which is particularly concerning. What the area around you is pretty boarded up, and everyone is hiding in their houses. You can see a couple of quarantine signs that have been placed up on certain doors. What is noticeable is that there are flies everywhere, as I described last session, but now they have been joined by other creatures crawling along in the gutters, as sort of we haven't reached quite like carpeted plague levels yet, but enough rats to be noticeable, enough cockroaches to be noticeable, and owls in the trees as well. And it's still kind of daylight, but you can see fluttering around a couple of owls that are sort of nestling in some of the larger trees lining the boulevards. It's not great.
No, that's not great. Do you have some kind of armor somewhere? The thick coat?
I have some padded fencing gear. I don't have a suit or anything.
I feel like it can't hurt.
All right, why don't you and I go and acquire what we can? We'll leave you to scour the streets for weaponry.
I can find that.
All right.
Are you looking for a gun just for you?
Oh, no, as many as we can carry, preferably.
That seems
As many as this can buy.
I would prefer a handgun. Actually, no, yes, I would prefer a handgun.
I want change.
Okay. I'll keep the receipts.
I don't want a weapon. I don't want a gun.
Really?
I can't use it.
Okay.
I'm a sword boy. You know, you stab someone, or you get someone with a bayonet. You might be a musket, or a spear. No, that's not a sword, is it?
Not quite.
Aren't swords. All right. Okay. I think. Would you like my driver to accompany you as a little bit of backup?
Yes, I suppose that would be smart.
Yes, so you'll take the car home yourself?
Yes.
All right. Very good, sir.
Excellent. Make sure you record the duration.
Yes, billable hours.
He's not doing his job currently. He's doing something adjacent. And I fit myself in. I got to readjust the seat. But I'm good to go. I'm comfortable driving.
All right. With only a couple of seconds' notice, you turn, you spin the car, and you begin to move away, and you are left with the driver, whose name you still do not know because class does not allow his.
I find out you shared his name.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He sort of sits looking towards you. He lights himself a cigarette and offers you one.
I take one.
All right, and then says, "Well, lead the way."
Thank you. You know it's going to get dangerous. You know, we might not see the sunrise. It would be a shame to die alongside a man who does not even know your name.
He looks towards you a little worried and then says, "Well, does that mean if I don't tell you my name, I'll survive?"
If that helps you get through.
And he kind of laughs. He looks left and right, makes sure that
Who is he more
Klaus isn't
afraid
nearby.
of, the god or me?
And he says,
Wait, really? I heard that.
"Did you? Because I think it's worth that reaction."
No, I'm playing it up. That was underwhelming.
I am the bringer of that. Oh, no. What name did you expect?
Young Safa.
Yeah, something like that. That's
Now the other
Thor?
two.
It could have been like Thor.
What? I heard a name that is distinctly very mundane.
Alright.
Was that your experience?
It was.
Okay.
It was.
What did you hear? Did you hear like Freddie
On
Mercury?
3.
Kind of like
1, 2, 3. Jacob.
Jacob?
Yeah. I don't know. That was like guns drawn. All right. No one's got any secrets here.
Yeah, not anymore.
That dude's getting fucked.
Wow, we're so in sync.
Hooray!
That's
for
alright.
us.
He's safe. I'll keep him safe from you.
Thank you. Wait.
All right.
Does he have a last name? Is it Jacob?
Whoever says the last name
Jacob.
first in chat will go with that.
Oh, okay, yeah, good spot.
Jesus.
Give us Jacob's surname.
Jacob Jacobson. Anyway, regardless, the two of you now split off, and the two of you split off, and you begin to move through Berlin. Now, moving through Berlin is going to be a little more difficult than you possibly anticipated. We're going to start with you two in the car, right?
Thank you.
So as you begin to drive, you turn away from the red light district. You begin to head out to the suburbs where your sort of large, it's not really a mansion, it's or a manor. I wouldn't exactly know what a townhouse, I suppose, is. And as you begin to move through, you're having to like avoid obstacles in the street now. Like I said, branches that have fallen over. There's more than one car that has been abandoned. You're sort of going around it and trying to weave. And then as you start turning down certain streets, you'll see that they're completely packed and bustling with people. And you have to pull the car into reverse and turn around. You start kind of weaving around. I would like you to make either a drive auto check or a navigate check to try and find a correct route.
Drive auto.
Right.
Please, thank you.
If you have, do you have any skill in navigate, or are you at base?
I know. I have 20 navigate.
20 navigate. Okay.
So was this going to be hard or?
This is going to be a normal. Okay. 20 navigate maybe the base. Or is navigate 01 for
it
base?
is
Oh, excellent.
navigate.
In which case you can roll that with advantage. Because you're leaning out the window and you're like take go via Andreas Platz.
Hot damn, that's a crit.
That's a crit. 01. Oh my god.
Oh,
Fantastic.
Percy.
Who implies you're being told the name? I smack you.
Roll a d10 for me.
Sure. 10.
So your navigate will increase by 10 points.
I drive, I think.
You chose drive, didn't you? You drive, and you're working together though. It's a group success, really. And you begin to weave through the
Except
streets.
David gets all the rules. I mean,
And it really things do begin to get significantly worse as you're traveling along. You start to spot. At one point, someone completely naked, holding 2 pints of beer in their hands, runs across it almost like you almost crash the car into them. They head straight past you. A couple of seconds later, living their best life.
What day of the week is it?
We figured out it was a Monday night.
Good work, you bum. Yeah, he's got to
he
get
has
in
his
the
life.
office
I have
on
my life. Sometimes
And,
you just
and
want to
they've been
run
going
around.
since yesterday.
Credit to him.
Since lunchtime yesterday.
And that's sort of a positive one. But as you begin to head further, at one point you see you're sort of driving down. You're turning through an alley. You've avoided a main crowd. Someone staggers in front of you. You think they might be drunk, but then they look up and they begin to run towards you. And you see that they are dressed in the outfit of one of the they are called Kripo and Sippo unit. I believe that pronunciation might be wrong, but they are units of essentially, they are like you. They are elective police. They choose to keep order, and they wander around and they try to maintain some degree of control, especially since the police can get very partisan at this time period. Except they've got bloody wounds on them, and they're sprinting towards you, and a second later, a mob of people run out and grab them and throw them to the ground, start kicking them and yelling and cheering and pouring liquor on them as they try to get up.
Can we point the car at them and give it a little rev and a bam bam?
With your crit, you manage to absolutely. You throw the car, you're kicking up mud, you sort of hold on tight, and wait, as it launches forward, and you scare them, and the guy gets up, and he says, thank you, leans over, he gets the car, and says, thank you, you can get back to your house, it's not safe on the streets.
Is it continuing to escalate?
It's getting worse. It's getting worse. One of the police stations is completely overrun. They're not responding to anything. We can't. It's chaos.
Can I, as we understand it, it is going to get worse the further into the city that you go, towards the red light district. If you can, make for the suburbs.
He says, should I go there? Should I try and help? Can I do anything?
No, it is lost, I'm afraid.
He looks kind of terrified at that thought, and he sort of mutters a small prayer to himself, crosses himself, and then says, all right, good luck.
Does he have a gun?
Roll a luck check. Actually, no. So he's a volunteer police, so he would not. He would what he does have though is he has like the equivalent of like a good nightstick, like a beaten stick.
Oh,
I'll look at Percy and go, you want that?
How are we gonna? Sure.
You make for the suburbs. We are going back in to fight. Give us your nightstick and your whistle.
You scared him enough by saying it's lost. I'm going to let you make an intimidate check here.
I fell.
He kind of says, I might need it to get back. You can push it and say,
I'm not gonna
He
bully
needs
the
something
poor
to
man.
defend himself.
I agree.
And he nods and he says, "All right, good luck." And he tears and he turns and he begins to run. And you continue sort of like swerving through and getting deeper and deeper out into the city. Eventually,
Does my theory hold as we get further away from? Because we're going out. My place is on the outskirts. Is it getting less or more?
your theory does hold. It is getting less, but in another way, there is more.
I have to go via the busy thing.
Well, more to the point, when you get out there, you seem to have gotten away from the worst of these debaucherous people, these people who are sort of absolutely throwing themselves into celebration and ecstasy. But as you get further out to the country, you start to see more and more creatures. You know, when you get out, you actually do start to get, there are rats everywhere, there are cockroaches, there's owls on the walls, and more importantly, as you sort of get towards your house and you open the door and you start to head in, you spot on the back of Klaus's neck there is a large leech that has somehow gotten there, and he's sort of just so he doesn't seem to notice it. You turn back and you can see Percy's face is vaguely shocked, but you don't want to say anything because you've seen there is a large blood-sucking mosquito that has landed on his forehead and is currently biting it.
On your neck.
Yeah, I'm going to.
And you can pull the you head inside. When you get in,
I close the doors as well, and if I have a rug, I'm going to kick it under the gap just a little bit, just as we go inside.
When you get in, you open your door and your rug is actually already there. You have to sort of push it, and you come through, and you can see only one of your house staff is there. They're a completely fearsome woman who you know as Barbara, and she is there, and she's holding like a fly swat and a newspaper. She turns towards you to come in. She's like, "Sir, if you wouldn't mind closing the door quickly, they'll get in otherwise."
How goes the siege?
We've lost some rooms and we've had to retreat.
We have rations for the winter.
And
we will eat the horse.
she giggles along with you a little, but then she just says, it's okay. You know, the house is
good. If you could take a moment to lay down your weapons, I require swords and armor.
I'll see to the gymnasium, sir. And she heads off and goes to click things. Do you two want to have any conversation or gather anything while you're here?
Do you have any weapons? Do you have anything?
Yeah, we have ceremonial weapons and things. If anything strikes your fancy, you are free to it. Just like
I admit I'm not really much of a fighter. I could probably use more of a handgun. Have you got a sling? Something I could throw?
I have a belt or a tie. Perhaps I could stretch through a cummerbund or a silk scarf or
unfortunately improvising a sling might be slightly beyond your skill set here, but you sort of are listing off things in your head. Basically, there's any kind of equipment that you would want to grab from what is essentially a fairly rich house. Barbara will return from the gymnasium with a great deal of equipment for you, and there is sort of like you said, there is padded fencing gear. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to say that it provides the same armor as a heavy leather coat, except you can wear a heavy leather coat over it. So if you would like the maximum that you sort of be doing here, yes, you have multiple sets.
Would they fit Percy, who's the size of a truck?
I'm just tall. I'm not like wide.
It would maybe be a little lengthy, but you can fit it functionally. So if you wanted to go fully equipped with everything, and you can tell me what you're bringing, you would have like a padded fencing suit, sort of with kind of stiff. Wool, I'm not sure if it's wool or cotton or what will be inside, but it's thick. You would have a heavy leather coat over that, gloves and boots, and then if you wanted to go that extra, so each of those levels, so the padded suit would provide 1 point of armor, the second one would provide another one. and then the grilled fencing. The grilled fencing.
No, we don't wear those because we're the
don't, yeah.
whippers. We just wear like goggles, then we slash each other in the face.
I would assume that you would have, obviously you have one of those for when you almost went to the Olympics because they required you to wear one. But yes, you're right, you only have one of those sets.
A rugby helmet or something?
Make a luck
I
check.
don't know if rugby's played in Germany. No,
unfortunately you don't have any other sort of significant sports helmets.
I'll load all that gear up at the very least.
Okay.
And I'll sever my swords and things. I'm good. Anything strike your fancy?
No, nothing I can think of off the top of my head.
I mean, we're smashing. If we're
You're pretty visible at this stage, though. I mean, out on the street, most people you saw were either
it's hot as sin, isn't it? It's on, or are we into...
You're in winter. You're in winter now because you
maybe
went
so then.
It was hot as sin at the beginning of the campaign, but since you had that time jump, you have woken up in November. So, yeah, actually, you know, with the wind, there's probably some blowing sleet that's around. It's pretty chilly, but you look visibly like geared out.
Yeah.
But that's not out of place. Everyone is either naked and partying or like holding frying pans and terrified.
Hats?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you put a hat on top of the mask so that it looks less suspicious?
So it's like a fencing mask and then a top hat.
What?
Yeah.
You could just say you have some facial scarring.
I do have a ton of
Well,
facial
then you
scarring.
can just say you have.
I
some
come
facial
down and I'm
scarring.
looking at you and I've got the thing on and a top hat and very soon I look silly.
I am too embarrassed. I'm too awkward to give you an honest answer. So, no, you very appropriate.
I feel a little. Okay, well, that's all well then.
Can I have the goggles?
Let's go. Yeah.
I would like the goggles.
Yeah.
All right. So you both gear up. You get everything you can. You jump back into the car. When you get there, it's genuinely like crawling with cockroaches. And you sort of like kick them out. And then eventually you just.
Do you have like a lighter or flamethrower?
Matches. I do not think I stress for a flamethrower.
Do you
but
have...
I have a cigar box with a fine selection. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking of how to throw together like a little the 1920s equivalent of like some deodorant.
We need
and
an
like,
aerosol, which won't be anything. Molotov cocktail,
actually,
you might be able to.
This would be something that you would probably want to talk to Joseph about, considering he is trained and would be able to improvise some things for you.
Percy has
his
chemistry,
car.
right?
Yes. Now, bug spray is a thing in this era. You would probably have some bug spray. And what it looked like is they were essentially large pods, and they had a pump at the back, and you go and you pump it out like
Fill
that.
it with
And it's not particularly popular at the minute. In fact, bug spray was around before the First World War, and then kind of fell out of fashion because it was essentially used in the First World War against humans.
that sucks. Jesus.
Yeah, it's not particularly.
The more I hear about this Great War,
the less you're keen on. It wasn't so
Why
great.
did they call it the Great War?
It
It
was
seems like kind of a bummer.
Wasn't that great?
So the two of you hop back into your car, and where are you headed? Where is your rendezvous point?
feck.
I assume we wanted to go to
The theatre.
the Kegel. What's it?
We shouldn't meet at the.
I think that this is more interesting
Bunnings.
narratively if you haven't given a point. You sort of get
I
there,
agree.
and you kind of like, where do we find here? So I'll tell you what.
I think we would default. We'd probably head to. Oh, sorry. Do you want to do something?
I think what is particularly what is possibly more interesting is that. Would you mind blocking your ears obligingly for a moment?
Oh, I would love to.
Okay,
I have to
fantastic.
hum slightly.
Please go ahead. Where will the two of you go? Hooks and Guard, you can head to the Red Light District, you can head directly to the theatre, you could head to not to Alvin Grau, to the bookstore.
I was going to say the
I was
bookstore
gonna suggest the
and the
bookstore.
pub near it, the
Yeah.
bar that we've been to several times, and we'll search around there. Also, my car's noticeable. If we get there first, he'll find us.
That's true.
All right,
Okay.
all the way around.
Fantastic. Well, no, that's all right. You're all good. Someone tap Jackson so we can... Excellent.
Hear anything?
Where did
Sorry, I can't hear.
You're quite all right. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay.
wait, only you know.
What?
I don't know what just happened.
Dear me. So
We're going to the beach, Jackson.
Oh, all right.
Changed our minds.
Excellent.
Just leave.
Get out of Berlin.
me.
So let's figure out exactly what's going to happen with you. So you are standing with Jacob, whose name you now know, and as a result, he will be fired.
No.
And the two of you begin to walk,
Jackson.
sort of heading quickly through the streets. Now, something occurs to you. Of all the seedy bars you want to visit and where your contacts might be, the Huxendarf, the bar that you believe the vessel of Ishtar went through, might be one of them. So you could head there directly if you want, or you could go and then you go somewhere where you know more people. So basically, it will be you can head somewhere where it will take you longer, or you can take a risk and go to somewhere where you know she was, and it will be a less of a investment of time.
I think time is short.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're going to head straight to the hooks.
Heaters of the essence.
Okay, all right, fantastic. So the two of you begin to walk as quickly as you can, just, ducking and weaving through the streets. Now, similarly, you are going to meet a bunch of people who are sort of like partying loudishly, destroying things, yelling. The wind now is bustling, and as you head towards the center of the red light district, instead of heading away from it, you are heading right into the center of everything. And you hurry through. I would like you to make so you two, I will roll for your companion to make a stealth test functionally.
Oh, I just improved that.
Hey,
Good stuff.
Wow, convenient.
Go ahead.
suspiciously.
Not enough, clearly.
Not enough.
Okay.
Jackson.
All right. At one point, you're sort of ducking, you're weaving in between different alleyways, and suddenly you turn down an alley which should be deserted, except you can see there's a bunch of people suddenly in it, and they're standing around. One of them is kneeling in the center of the alleyway, and appears to be laughing at being beaten by the other ones. They're sort of holding branches and sticks and clubs and hitting them, and the man in the center is laughing, and you both freeze, and they turn towards you all at once, start pointing and saying, those ones. As you're frozen there, I'm going to give you an option to push the roll, and Jacob goes to push you away. And basically, you can leave him, and I'll let you push that roll again to try and get hidden. Or you can stay with him. He's going to run, by the way. You're dooming him to...
Oh, okay. He's going to run. I can't run.
Yeah, so
that's a win-win. I'm going to push that. With a 5 on the ones dice. Oh, hey!
Wow.
0-5.
Well
Wow.
done.
So
Okay.
success
Ain't that just the
3.
way?
You dive to one side and scramble as Jacob sort of leans in. He begins to this string of vitriol of swear words that you've never heard come out of someone before, as he just baits them and begins to tear off down the street. The others begin to run after him while you scramble to the side, and within seconds the alleyway is empty, and you can hear their sort of whooping laughter echoing off into the distance. And you get back up, dust yourself down, and begin to limp further, heading faster and faster towards the Hungerstav. You only see one other thing, and it's as you are really getting close to the bar itself. The people it's when you begin to get this close to the red light district, you can see that there's not so much these rowdy groups of people partying. Instead, people you see at one point one person sitting on the ground vomiting, appearing to be dreadfully drunk. You pass people like asleep in the park. Some of them handling drugs. Other people you at one point walk sort of through one of the bridges that you know and felt safe around because you would sleep there often, and you see there is a group of people there, and they're all sort of laughing and talking and sneering, and you turn and you get there. It's a lot more sinister. It's a lot more of an aggressive environment. Just as you head towards the bar itself, you see sitting by one of the entrances to the alleyway, to an alleyway nearby the bar, there is a young woman sitting, and she's kind of playing with these gloves. And as you get close, she says, "Look at this," and holds up, and you realize that her hands have turned into paws. She goes, look at this is insane. Look at this. Look at this. And she appears to have paws. You are going to need to make a sanity test here.
Yeah.
Your sanity is not great.
It's not.
Can I ask?
But I'm not surprised because I did remember Balthazar saying people are going to turn into dogs.
Good call. You can roll with advantage.
I misheard you. Oh, sorry, you go.
I was gonna ask what kind of animal it was, and now I'm sad.
Hey. I misheard you. I thought you said pores, P-O-R-E-S, which was way worse. In my mind, like
yeah.
holes and...
Me too. That was my first.
Okay, all right.
And then
That would be
Hey,
disgusting.
no, thank you.
I was relieved when it was just...
Oh my god, I thought you said paws as in W-O-R-S. Like poor people. And I was like, what's wrong?
They can't afford houses.
I was like, what's wrong with you, Dave?
Good times. No, I cannot roll under 15 for my
What if
sanity.
Okay.
her hands
Shock
turned
horror.
into
Shock horror.
paws,
Okay.
as in
So, two of you look away for a second. Roll for me a d4.
I'm just saying, we're not.
And just sign to me how much you lost.
And the camera? You guys got your eyes closed?
I can't see.
Good. All right. So how much you have left now? Okay, excellent. Yeah, perfect. All right, everyone back. All right, so you're running desperately
David.
low, and we are doing this just for those who are not aware. We're doing this just for those who are not aware because nobody knows at what point Joseph is actually going to snap. And this is the last session, so
a few weeks ago.
let's see.
Snap again.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one. Last time you
I've
can't
snapped,
really outdone
I've
yourself when you.
snapped and then been duct taped back together. It's not going to hold.
I reckon it's been more than duct tape. You, my dude.
So, you arrive at this bar, basically, and it's a relatively small area, quite similar to the first bar that you went into all those years ago. It's a straight staircase down with kind of a foyer. And as you walk into it, you're not sure what you're expecting to hear, to see. Like your mind is leaping to the debauchery that must be inside. Are you going to find people, indulging in excess or fornicating, or what's it going to be? But as you walk in, it's actually very quiet. You look around, you don't see anyone. There's no one appears to be at the reception area.
You disappointed?
You walk down.
Not really.
You walk down, sort of limping slightly on your wooden leg, and turn left and head down into this larger open area. And you can see that the restaurant is packed. Every table is full, and there's a stage to one side, and everyone is sitting inside it. So everyone's sitting along the edge of the stage, as well as blocking out. They are all smoking, and none of them are saying anything. As you walk in, all the eyes turn towards you, and you suddenly feel like everyone is glaring at you with this intense hostile glare and smoking and just watching, and no one is saying anything.
Say nothing.
What would you like to do? You're standing there, you can go and find a seat.
I would, sit right in front of them.
All right, you go and you find a seat and you sit down. There's another person at your table who kind of, when you sit down opposite them, looks at you. It's a young woman. She finishes her cigarette and she turns and she strolls indignantly towards the bar as the rest of the people begin to watch. Can you make spot hidden for me?
I'd love to. I was trying to, you don't speak first when you're dealing with these kind
Yeah,
of
I agree.
people.
Let them play their hand.
Yeah,
I
that's
hear you.
right. I do not spot anything that may or may not be hidden.
Not with that attitude.
No.
These
with those
people,
dice.
it is incredibly awkward. These people continue to watch. No one is doing anything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to count how many minutes pass, and I want you to tell me when you do something. 1 minute? 2 minutes?
Like, stand up dramatically.
All right. Everyone stops for a second. They're watching you. They're waiting for an action.
I need something to protect myself and bring an end to the chaos outside. Which one is going to help me, and which of you are going to stand in my way?
That's
Can you roll an intimidate test for me?
I'm not that intimidating. It's the leg. It's the
You've got a
leg.
wooden
Really?
leg, and you sort of,
Dude.
but you're looking pretty savage at this stage.
That's true.
Take that into account.
Is that worth some advantage?
I'm gonna
Late DV.
not a bonus die, but make a roll, man. I'm factoring
Hit
it.
him with that John
Hot
Is that a success 3? I think it is. Bang
You
on.
bloody
success three.
legend.
0-3 on base intimidate of 15.
Nice.
Get that up, yeah.
That is
Not a
success
single.
story.
That is amazing. Not a single person holds your gaze. You sweep across, and everyone looks away and looks down and mutters, and suddenly the entire atmosphere of the bar changes from sort of spooky eldritchness to kind of like humbled and stuff like that. As you're waiting a couple of seconds, no one seems to respond. You're kind of like, did it work? And then suddenly to your side, you see someone rushing towards you. Not running at you, but heading towards you. A dark-skinned man, and he walks forward and he kind of leans in at your table and says, you're not safe here, but I can help you. I have something. Come. My name is Emil. I can help.
Right.
All right, you get up and he walks out of the area with you, and he, as you get into the foyer, he says, "Wait," and he motions quickly towards sort of an alcove at the side and pulls you in, and waits there for about 20 seconds, and then about 5 or 6 people suddenly come up as if they were following you and leave the bar, but they've missed you because you've ducked into this alcove with Emil. After a couple of seconds, he says, "Okay," and so when you left, it looked like you were followed,
Right.
but Emil said, "No, wait."
So they didn't
and
like
let
me.
them. No, apparently not. He takes you out and he takes you sort of weaving down a couple of alleys until finally you're alone. He turns and he says, "That place has gone mad. I don't know what happened. They had someone visited, they said, and ever since, everyone inside, they've gone crazy. I think they're under some kind of spell like the rest of the city."
You think so, or do you think they know more than most people do?
I'm not sure, and I dare to guess. He looks at you and he says, I've heard of you.
What have you heard?
I've good things. My niece, you helped her one night when she was being chased." And he gestures towards your leg and says, "I know you want to do well in this city, I've heard. And of course, my business also tells me that you've been on the market for dangerous things, explosives. Is that what you're looking for again?"
Something more personal.
Well,
Weapons,
he
guns.
kind of looks around and says, "Well, I'm going to be heading back to my home. I don't think I can spend much time out here, and things are becoming more dangerous, but I'm not far." And he reaches in, looks around, and he pulls out a small snub-nosed revolver. He clicks it open to show you it's loaded, and he hands it towards you and says, "Think of it as a gift. Yes, thanks for helping my niece."
Thank you.
Yes.
Do you know where I can find more? Something, rifle, shotgun?
Make a persuade test.
As the city crumbles around us. I don't think I'm that persuasive. I am not.
I need everything else that I have, and I think that you'll find that many other salesmen are of the same mind. But, if the explosives that you already have aren't enough for whatever you were doing, then hopefully that gun will keep you safe, and that's all I can give you.
Thank you. I'm glad I have a friend.
Well, the whole city is your friend after what you've done, and you appear to be continuing to help. And he pats your shoulder, looks down at your leg, kind of a little like, cool, I met a celebrity, and then nods and says, what's your alter ego's name again?
Der Holzbeinheld.
Thank you, dear Husbandheld, and hurries off back towards his home.
Well. Look who's
Nicely
getting their money back.
done.
All right, very well.
That was awesome.
Okay, so what's your plan from here?
Just bathe in the adoration of my
You
fans.
stand
Do a little
there.
skip.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna go?
To this prearranged meeting place.
Yes, and you kind of suddenly standing. You don't know where you're going to meet the other two.
Yes, I am at a loss. Oh man, I just need to find.
You can sort of you got a couple of. You can go to somewhere that you discussed. You can do sort of a lurk. You could go back to the doll maker's house or something like that. That's not too far away.
I guess I wouldn't mind if I'm able to stop by the telephone girl place
Okay.
that I have.
All right. So
See if I can do that on the way to wherever else I'm going.
So you're going to head towards the red light
I guess
district.
my general direction is the theatre,
Okay.
but I don't know if I need to be there right now.
You are heading towards the theater via the red light district.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Does that work?
You begin to wander through the streets, shoving your pistol sort of under your coat, walking along the banks of the river. The wind is continuing to blow, and as you walk past the alleyway, you see the woman with paws for hands look up towards you and meow at you.
Oh.
And as you look back, she has grown whiskers and teeth, and her eyes are now
They
cat-like.
were cat paws.
Balthazar said dogs.
And I was going to ask, and I trusted you.
You continue along.
I continue along.
Now,
Anything
I
more
pay it
than
no
being
mind.
meowed at by a woman in an alley.
You haven't had a good Saturday night.
I have to pay.
Now, you are moving through the city itself, driving as quickly as you can. Once again, there are still obstacles everywhere, and as you begin to move through, I want you to make another drive auto, and you can add an advantage for the navigation check.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fumble, so let's...
Ooh.
That is a fail. Even with mine new increased luck.
Sorry.
No, drive auto.
I've
However,
got the Melways open. It's not up to date. It's like 20 years old.
use
They
Google
built a
Maps
new
for in the
highway.
future. What is
The
doing?
ways.
I, the selfless Klaus Landsrider, giver of all, will spend 6 points of his own hard-earned luck to make
Hard
this
earned
group.
luck.
Well, it's my
That
father's
was
luck.
Oh, wow, so
That was-
self-aware.
It's like you were born with, and
Yeah.
you know
A
it.
moment of clarity.
And then I shake the clarity away. I'm the best at driving. I was going to the Olympics. I'll floor it. I succeed.
Okay, and you're weaving about. At one point, Percy, as you're sort of gazing out the window, you see someone walking upright, staggering with a bottle of wine in their hand, who's in this large lion costume. And then you're thinking, that's a really... Is that a... And then you're turned and you don't really have time
like
to...
standing up.
like you essentially see a lion
Like
standing
the
up.
Dare mascot.
I don't know.
What?
Do we not have that here?
Dare? I think this is
It's
your...
like the don't do drugs. It's the big lion, but he's got a bottle of wine. He's stumbling down the street like, hey kids.
This is your American upbringing, rearing its mane, I suppose.
Klaus, there's a man wearing a lion
What?
suit.
It's gone.
Oh,
Yeah, it's absolutely gone, yeah.
What are you talking about? Why are they keep your eyes on the Melways? Or the Berlin ways, the Burways, the Jerways.
You continue to swerve through the streets, and you get close once again. You decided to head to the bookstore slash the bar. So you are near the hook.
as one would logically head towards.
Exactly, which means that there is a chance, since you did go there to the bar, that you will intersect. So what I'm going to ask, you are busy driving. The two of you can make a spot hidden check. No advantage, just pure spot hidden check to see if you spot each other going past.
Will I spot an old man with one leg
He's
among
not
a
old.
city of naked people drinking beer?
Hey, you spot me. I have no idea you're there.
I success 2, man.
50.
Okay.
50 in 1928. I would call that old.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You are literally 1 foot in the ground. Well,
You haven't got 1 foot. Your 1 foot is
means
in
you're
the
dead.
ground.
Too soon.
you're a 1. Yeah, success 2.
Okay, so as you spot Yosef as suddenly sort of heading doggedly towards the red light district. And you sort of reach over, tap, and you can spin the car into a turn and
Flash
sort
the
of,
high beams.
yeah. And you hear like a toot like an oddly happy thing. A couple of seconds later, as you're heading towards you get towards the door, you can see that there is like a large spider right on the window as you sort of get towards it, and Klaus is kind of staring at you from behind it, kind of doing.
I've got
doing
full
that.
fencing gear and a top hat on.
Oh yes, exactly.
I would pistol whip the spider and get in.
Crunch.
Oh yeah.
Wait, you're wearing your fencing thing while you're driving?
Oh shit.
That's why you failed, man. That's why you
Yes,
failed your check.
you have taken it off to drive.
That was the luck check. Was hang on.
You sit down in the back seat and shut the door, and the two of you see there is a certain a slight pride, a slight
Also, he pistol whipped a spider.
awareness.
That's cool
Yeah,
as hell.
exactly. And you can see in his hand he does have a revolver.
Just the one?
Yes, I made one friend, but he wanted to keep the rest for himself, to keep him and his family safe.
That's fair enough. It
It's
only
better
seems-
than nothing. I'm afraid I lost contact with Jakob.
Who?
No.
Uh,
I thought you said you only made a friend.
no, yes. I
Who is-
made.
Where's my driver?
Who is,
Yeah,
who is
indeed,
Jakob?
I lost him in the chaos. I'm
Who-
sorry.
Right. Well, I'm sure he will find his way home. He's like a good.
Joel?
Nope. I wasn't going to. He's a good person. A good.
On a completely unrelated topic, Percy, can you make me a dex check for Jakob?
Me.
No, just Percy can do it. I figure.
Great. Now you owe.
Wait,
Ooh, that's
who's
good.
Dex?
Just tell me what you rolled.
23.
Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, cool. Yeah.
He lives.
At
he's
least
not, he did
keep
not
him alive for
He
a
has
little
not
bit.
died.
spot him.
died.
Oh god, he's
He
in
gets
the
eaten
gutter.
by a. Anti-drug lion.
All right. So, loaded up in the car, the three of you, where to now?
Where are we going now?
I suggest we go into the center,
Into the heart
where we have a gun.
of the beast.
I have a crowbar. You have a fencing
Swords.
face, helmet.
Are you slipping into padded gear and a coat as well?
Yes. If you've got one for me.
So, padded gear
Thank
coat,
you.
padded gear coat, padded gear coat,
Is
helmet.
that 2 armor right there?
2 armor, yes.
Thank you very much. I replaced right there.
Where do I put
No,
that?
you just write it in equipment. So, write padded gear and heavy leather jacket.
Can I have the keepers on the investigators, please? Jakob? No, Joseph?
So close. All your underlings just blend into one.
Sound different. Still won't be painting back. It's a very small weapon for the
Where
running.
would I find
Okay,
damage
it's all
bonus
the
for
same.
a revolver, by the way?
Damage bonus for revolver.
Damage. Damage.
This revolver will be a D10.
I need a sword.
Huge.
A sword should
No,
be.
no.
Yeah, you can find it yourself if you
No damage bonus from.
No, because a damage bonus applies to attacks that you make with your own strength. So your damage bonus applies to those. So a sword
Can
would
I
you have your
just
damage
treat
bonus?
this as a chainsaw?
No.
Oh,
Actually, yes, with the extended fumble rules, absolutely.
I mean, I'll still take it. That's a sweet as hell.
I believe if you roll a 90 with using a chainsaw, you cut one of your own limbs off.
95 and up, and then you damage yourself, I believe.
Yes.
Where is
You know what? That is fair. Chainsaws are heavy, and they're covered in like moving blades.
A good friend of mine
Ooh.
injured himself with a chainsaw, but it wasn't a chainsaw. He was cutting down a tree, and the tree fell on him.
Oh well, that can happen to anyone.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, James, so there's variety between these. Would you say this has got rapier, a sharpened fencing foil, or a cavalry saber? Might I have a cavalry saber from my time? I was an
cavalry
officer.
You probably have all three of
the
those,
scariest
and you could have taken
I have
any
all three.
sure, laid out in it's like one of those artists' pencil cases, except it's got 3 swords in it.
Sweet as hell.
It's got a little zip.
Absolutely. So,
Oh, there goes Klaus off to his first day of school.
Got the top out.
and the fencing hat. My God. So, so Percy, you were saying you wanted to head straight in towards the
Yeah,
theatre.
I mean, I see no reason to dally. That's where the lady is.
I agree.
She's made of porcelain. We could just hit her really hard.
Yeah, I agree. Although I think we should not hesitate to understand the situation further. We don't know exactly what is going on here, and if we can... I'm concerned that killing her would only bring more harm or something.
Now, you know that to get to this theatre, you will have to go right through the red light district, which means you will pretty much pass right by Joseph where you were headed, which is to the address of the telephone girl that was contacting you.
Yes, I also thought it might be worth stopping in the telephone girl place just to see if our ally is there, the porcelain girl.
Sure.
It can't hurt. Well, it could, but we may as well.
All right.
So, just a quick question. Joseph is losing sanity, but he's not getting any,
No, I'm tracking that.
There's no
for you.
other effects
Yes,
or
yes.
We haven't visibly noticed anything.
No, in fact, he
I'm
seems...
oblivious. So.
It's one of those things where as he gets towards the very tail end of his sanity, know when people get very, very sick and suddenly they have like a perk up right before they so he seems sort of put together a little bit, but it's because he's reached that absolute point
I
of...
absolutely think he's on the
But
outside.
he's not triggering any, manias or anything.
No.
That's just not happening.
Currently, no, because he is indefinitely insane, and while he is indefinitely insane, the rules for losing sanity,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Excellent. That all sounds like good news to me.
Yes.
Yeah, we're fine.
Cool.
Have I got a full magazine of ammo?
Yes. Yeah. Full
Excellent.
magazine of ammo.
Any extras?
Wow.
But no, you do not have any extras.
Alright, that's all right. Turns out a 41 revolver has 8 shots.
8 shots.
So
Seems
I
excessive.
just talked you into that.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
You have a full magazine. Oh, what have I done?
Yeah.
Down with the GM. Players rise up.
Continuing along, you begin to drive through, and now you're heading deeper and deeper into the city now. As you get through, I said that there was some sleet in the air, some snow. The wind is just buffeting the car, buffering.
Nobody mentioned the roof.
Yeah, and you're
Do you
Shut up!
your top hat blows away at one point. Tragically, you catch it, and you head through. and you suddenly have to stop to a crawl because you see, as you get closer in, the atmosphere changes. You can now only hear the sounds of chaos very distantly. It seems that what the level of activity that was in the red light district has now spread beyond, and it is probably about as bad in the suburbs as it was in the inner area now. And as you get into the center, you have to slow to a crawl because there are bodies lining the streets.
Oh god, I was thinking that and I didn't want to say it as a joke.
Every you just driving down one of the main roads, you have to weave. There's probably about 6 or 7 bodies.
We might
that are
generally
lying.
are walking at this point, I'm presuming.
Possibly. I mean, unless you want to just drive over people,
No,
which
I'm not
would lose you a bunch of
These
sanity.
Dead people.
Well, they're just shit-faced, yeah. I pull over.
Get out. You get close and everyone sort of walks out. Do you want to go and start checking them?
Just careful. Keep.
I have my crowbar. I'm gonna look at the people.
Alright.
I'm not gonna touch any of them. I'm just can I detect anyone like breathing?
You go close and you begin to look at them. Some of them are breathing, some of them aren't. The ones that are breathing, you can see like extra teeth poking through their cheeks. Their eyes are growing. Hair is sprouting in weird places. You're going to need to make a sanity test for me.
Yeah, I am.
Hey!
That's pretty good.
I don't give a
good.
single shit apparently.
Hot dog.
Success rate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You managed.
Yeah.
You manage to hold yourself together. I'm not going to document any sanity. You sort of turn back. You share a glance and kind of make a let's keep going motion as quickly as you can. The group of you continue to move, heading through the large streets until eventually you come into this large sort of city square, and you can see all these various brothels and shops that would be full of telephone girls and people like that, and they're all sort of boarded up. You have never been to a place like this in your life, Klaus.
Sure.
And you can recognize the details for the one that you're trying to find, and it fortunately is one of the only ones that are remaining open.
Genuinely, what was the view on prostitution? Would it be seen as a would a man of culture?
It is extremely common in Germany at this time.
That's what I'm thinking. It's more be like almost weirder to not. Some
well, you were a young man who was a soldier.
Yeah, cool as hell.
You probably have visited a place like this in the past,
or parties and things, and
you continue on and you head towards one of these large buildings, the one you're trying to find, and just knock on the door. Is that the
I would pound on the door.
Pound on the door, yes.
Yeah, it's a sense of urgency that should be conveyed.
Be careful, she may run. Could I circle around and just check for a back door or anywhere else where they might
Absolutely.
be from?
There's a small alley, and you can head around the back, and you can see that there are staircases heading up, and there are
fire escape sign.
dumpsters out the back. Make a spot hidden check for me as you head out.
Yeah, this isn't happening, but it might be a fumble. It be. Hang on, what's my spot hidden? Yeah, it's a fumble.
That's a fumble. Okay, fantastic.
Amazing.
So while you were looking there, we're going to come back to you in a second, but the two of you are standing by the door, and this sort of like latch opens and a pair of eyes look through, and you can see kind of like a wild-haired man, probably in his late 40s, who kind of leans forward and says, visitors, you have money?
Yes.
Yes.
Show it to me.
I show him.
You the what?
I have
You didn't
all
even,
the money.
Don't show him all of
Show him half of it.
All right, and you hear like fumbling, and the door opens slightly, and the two of you step in,
money.
and he shuts the door. And this is a pretty scummy place. There are places that are quite upmarket in Berlin. This is not one of them. It is dirty. It is gross, it is dank, and this guy looks a little insane, and as you look around, you realize that he is decorated with a large number of dolls that are sort of sitting around, and you can immediately recognize that they are the same type of dolls that were from the doll makers. The sort of small ones, not the large automaton sized ones, but they're sort of hanging about, and then there's loot pictures and stuff like that. He turns and says, "I'm glad you found us. We're one of the few establishments remaining open with the chaos outside, but we, our girls are sturdy. How can we help?"
We need to speak to one in particular. And I would describe her. I was gonna describe her to have porcelain white skin, but seeing them all on the walls,
Yes.
I will not say that.
All right, you're going to need to make for me a fast talk check because this is literally not giving the game away.
Yeah.
Where's your other dice?
It's not in the tray, but
How did we
it's
go?
a 0-2.
Is that a 0-2?
Well,
I mean, he rolled it.
I
I'm
did
on
roll
team.
it. It's on the dice rolling.
I think it's the
platform.
players thing. Mine are.
It's on the dice rolling
Because
platform.
I will re-roll them if
I'll
they're
tell you
all
what.
bad.
We'll give chat 10 seconds to say keep or re-roll, and if they don't say anything,
I can type fast on that.
keep or
No,
re-roll.
you don't count. You don't count. Mods are exempt.
And if we keep, okay. Any other suggestions?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say to get rid of it.
First one is Ravioli Machine with re-roll.
Oh,
Thank you, Ravioli Machine. Re-roll that, please, would you?
Man, I regret now saying that mods don't count. No. Thanks, Ravioli. That was the beginning of the end.
No, I will not.
What if we can pin
Fast.
this to the part where
This is where everything went wrong.
I'm happy now because I have someone else to blame
I
for
would
our
like to
problems rather
dedicate
than us.
the rest of this campaign to Ravioli Machine.
So, you are,
Yeah, what?
you see his eyes kind of pick up and he goes, in particular, you say. He begins to look and he starts to look nervous. You can pick that he has picked, essentially. And he says, of course. Why don't you go and wait in one of the antechambers and I will arrange something for you. He sort of points towards a sitting room at the side.
Perhaps you have a picture book. We can make sure we're looking for the one we want.
Certainly, and he kind of steps back. You can see he's desperately trying to think of a way, but you two are pretty intimidating collectively, and he's not looking very happy. I will ask you to make a psychology and you to make a spot hidden. Or vice versa, if you would prefer.
Oh!
We looking good?
Success 3.
Success 3. Well done.
Yeah, just like
Well, that's pretty good.
on the down low.
Regular success and
On
spot
the
hidden as well.
deal.
You can see him eyeing like a specific drawer in behind the desk, like he's like kind of making like I need to get to that kind of thing. Possibly some kind of weapon is what you would expect. He pulls out it's not actually a large book, it's a small kind of folder with a leather cover, and he opens it, and you can see that there's sort of large photographs of these girls. They're all pictured next to phones, and they are all movie star imitators, essentially. All of them are dressed up as significant figures of film at the time, and you begin to flick through them one by one by one by
Am I
one.
able to... Is this the kind of... Can I ready actions?
Ready
Am I
actions?
imagining that? Is there a thing where I can be like, if he goes towards the drawer, I'm going to do this?
You can just say that, and that's what you will be doing.
Okay,
And
cool.
I'll give you a
I was like-
chance to. You can also, right now, if you want to be aggressive, walk over, lean over, and put your hand on top of it at any point.
Is it a drawer or is it like a...
It's a drawer. Like he's essentially behind a counter, and he's eyeing the side of the counter a little bit further down from him. You could move over and just lean over and put your hand in front of it, and he'd have to like come and shove you away to get to the door. It would be an avert movement. He'd realize what you were doing.
I will not do that yet.
Okay. Now you begin to go through these one by one. Flick, 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 and then eventually you come to stop at one. Taken with proper lighting, not seen in the dark, not seen during a chase, not seen soaked in water, there is a striking resemblance, and you immediately realize that this automaton bears what you would describe as a acute familial resemblance to Irma Kor, the woman you met in Dream Berlin. Upon seeing this, I will ask two of you to roll a sanity check.
Oh, must you?
Yes, I must, I'm afraid.
I don't want to know.
Fail.
Just one on a fail.
Fail.
Cast your eyes away.
I will look beyond.
Yeah.
Just one on a fail. Cool.
Were we meant to know that?
I was reminding you.
But I heard you say
Yeah, I should have said
I
it
heard
out
you say
loud.
twice. I failed my sanity roll, Jamie.
I honestly,
I will now
was
lose. I didn't
anyone
fail.
surprised? Yeah.
Continuing.
I don't know where he's at.
Now,
I don't know where it's
now?
I don't know where
So the two of you, the group of you flinch upon seeing that, but you can now see, and he sort of, as you look at that, you can see this sort of you're eyeing him. You've got a success rate. You can see he's like furious at this girl now, and he's like, but he doesn't know what to do. He's sort of feeling trapped, but he's trying to get you out of the room. So he says, I guess you can go up and you can see her right away. She's on the third floor in the second room on the left.
Why don't you introduce us?
Of course. And he kind of looks, he says, I just need to get some things. And he's going to move towards the
Cool.
drawer.
Do I still have my crowbar?
You would have it under your coat, yes.
Could I like? Nah.
Smack it on the desk.
You can pull out the crowbar and slam it down
I
on
know.
the
I was
desk.
gonna like put it in front of the drawer.
Yeah, you can absolutely do
Because then I
that.
can like, hold it against anything.
All right. Make an intimidate test for me.
Hell yeah! I bumped that up at some point.
Nice.
Don't remember when that was.
And Schwang.
Hey.
Hey.
Fuck man, pass.
You sort of do like a. He says, like, let me just get some crunk, and you just put the crowbar and glare at him, and he freezes and then just says, okay, I just do what I'm told. I just do what I'm told. I'm gonna do what I'm told. And he turns and says, I'll introduce you.
Can I open the drawer?
Absolutely.
I open the drawer.
You duck behind, pull it. There is a small revolver there. A similar one to the one you have.
Luke.
Fully loaded.
There is a
rounds?
box. Actually, there's a box of bullets, so you can use that. Well done.
Wow.
Sorry, you gonna take him?
Why wouldn't I, man? This is an old dude.
He kind of watches forlornly. Meanwhile,
This is why the lower
Bikes, revolvers. How much difference between them? Really?
Same.
They both spin.
and you begin to make your way upstairs. Out the back, with your fumble, you make your way into the back of the alleyway and you start to... There is an odd smell here, and it's pretty bad, and you don't really know what it is. It smells like... And you had run out of the bar when Joseph was exposed to the life of Vitae. If you hadn't, you might identify that was what the smell is, but with a fail, you have no idea what it is, so you happily kind of... walk towards one of the dumpsters, well, not happily, but you're like, what is that? Open one of the dumpsters, and you can see there's a blanket
I didn't look at your sanity.
sort of placed over a bunch of the trash, and you reach down and you grab a hold of the blanket
But no, I didn't
and you
look at
pull
it.
it back.
I don't want to look at it. I'm going to just look at it. I don't want to know.
It's bad. Don't look. You're doing
I'm
well.
not looking.
No, seriously, look at it.
Don't look at it. Come on.
Metagame.
Please look at it.
No. Why are you doing this?
Look at it.
Continuing.
They're arcane scribbles of the insane. Is
Oh, perfect.
It's fine.
I like that.
I
I like that.
understand.
I've obscured my sanity.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, so
There you
you
go.
know it, but I don't.
No, I just made some random scribbles because it
But
was
do
funny.
you know
Very
who
clever.
that
Means
is?
nothing.
No, fine.
I've got it recorded here. So
Oh, yeah.
all good. Now,
Wow, I've never felt so attacked.
and as you pull back one of the large blanket, you see down the bottom there is the faces and like shattered limbs and legs of perhaps 4 or 5 of these porcelain dolls. And as you pull back, several of their eyes kind of whip up towards you and look at you, and bits jiggle slightly. And it is terrifying, and it is hideous, and it is horrible, and your hand burns as you touch the rug, and you stagger backwards. You need to make a sanity test and a constitution test.
That dude was the worst. I got nothing except we should have gone further. Success.
Success. Okay, that's on the sanity. Make the constitution test for me.
8. Success.
Okay, so
Wow.
you're going to manage to and sort of wipe your hand, and you can take no damage from this. And sanity, you're just going to lose 1 point.
Okay, I'll take one.
You can hear kind of movement, and that's going to be the effect of your fumble. You can do what you will now, but you can also see there is a fire escape which leads up to the higher floors.
I'm gonna run back to the others.
Yeah,
to go
okay.
join them and tell them. it's
Absolutely.
possible.
You just as they're about to get up the stairs, suddenly you see Klaus burst in the door at the bottom, and he looks
Outside, there's in the bins. There's 4, maybe more, shattered corpses of the dolls, the living ones. Come look.
The guy sort of stands back against the wall, and he just sort of puts his hands up, and he's looking pretty scared, and he's just got his eyes sort of shut.
Who is this one?
He runs this place, I guess. I don't know.
You run this place.
But he's not the one in charge.
Yeah, but are you the one that kills them?
he starts to sweat. You can tell with your success 3 from earlier that the answer is yes. And he said, they're just dolls. They're just dolls.
Draw my saber. I walk towards him with it pointed at his chest.
And he begins to plead. And no, please, I was just being paid. They're just dolls. They're just dolls. You don't understand. They're not real. They're not real. They're just a trick. They're like a toy. And he's like, sort of like, kind of like, what are the two of you doing at this point?
I would. Well, they're dead, aren't they?
Well, they're dead a little bit.
So...
I said corpses though.
Yeah. There's not much we can do for them now. I'm going back towards the room.
Yeah, there's not much, but this one can still learn.
You sort of have made up towards the room. You're making up. You're continuing to walk, but you will. Yeah. So the two of you are you doing a little bit of turn away and leave Klaus to do what he needs to do?
Teach him what he needs to learn.
So the two of them turn and walk up the stairs, and you. What is Klaus going to do? And you can be as poetically. You can be as brief or as.
I'm gonna take him outside. I'm gonna make him observe them until moving, and then I'm going to carefully help him into the dumpster with the awful pus acid, and then close it, and I'll put something through it so he can't get out.
Nice.
And that'll sort of. And if he gets out of there, he will be a changed man, I'm sure.
All right, excellent.
For better or worse.
For better or worse.
So you
Maybe
spend
a supervillain.
probably about you spend a couple of minutes doing that, and the two of you continue. You can sort of hear Klaus come with me and like drag him. You can hear yelling, and but then you head up the stairs. As you begin to walk further up, you get to the first floor, and you look, and you can see a lot of the rooms are empty, but one or two of them are open, and people sort of poke their heads out, and they're all women from the book. Some of them, you can see one of them has like a crack, like a fault line down the side of her face, and she's like tried to put on makeup to hide it, but it's visible, and they just sort of watch you as you go up, further and further and further up, until finally you get to the room in question. You open the door, you walk in. It's a very small room. It's made up to look like a movie set. And you can see what looks bizarrely, once again, like Irma Core, but more like the Irma you saw in the hospital.
Yeah.
Not like the Irma as she was in Dream Berlin, because she had sort of guessed how she would grow. But this is it's quite bizarre. You're sort of taken aback for a second, but then step forward, and she stands up and says, "You found me."
We did. We took care of your boss too. We won't trouble you anymore.
And she sort of sits down and says, I would have found you earlier, you understand, but he breaks without discrimination. He would have ended up in a dumpster dead. I'm sorry I couldn't come earlier, and it seems, and she sort of gestures out towards Berlin at large, it seems that terrible things are happening. I wasn't quick enough to tell you.
No, you came at the right time. You did as much as you could, but perhaps there is more you can do now.
She kind of nods a few times, says, I will help however I can, but I have a request. She kind of looks down. She says, "I was built in the image of someone. All of the dolls are. They are all built as copies. I want to find who that was. Please. After that, I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to do anything. After that, I will vanish. I will leave. I will leave Berlin. I will leave Europe. I will go away. But I just want to know."
Do you want to speak to this person? What do you want to do when you meet them?
She looks kind of taken aback, and she says, do you know who... Is there someone? Do you know who it is?
We know someone who may either be the person you're looking for or a relative.
I don't want to hurt them. I just want to just see them once. They don't even have to... Maybe I'd love to speak to them, but if I can't, I can't. And I'm all right with that. I just want to know.
I think we all deserve to know where we came from.
Well, I don't think we can help you get there, but I guess we could tell you where the person is.
Please.
If we live to tomorrow.
Okay. Well, how can I help? I have some ways, but first I should tell you. And she then she kind of hesitates and says, "Let me pour you a drink," and then motions for you both to come in close. Do you come in close? She does, and she whispers, "Henri is in the bathroom, quite mad."
Mad?
He's terrified and more of a danger to himself than anyone else. He would come in here to visit often the facility, and after a time I grew close to him. He's how I found out that what I was, and after he did the final steps of whatever ritual he was doing, he was driven mad. He's in there now, quite insane. He's not a danger to anyone.
Is he secured?
He's like, she kind of looks. Last I saw him, he was crying in the bathtub. He's quite secured.
What do you want us to do with him?
He's your ticket inside, don't you see?
Inside the theater? Is that where it's happening?
I don't know much of this. I studied what little I could and learnt what I could from Henri and from the papers that he left and from my own condition. But that automaton, what it was created in the same way that there is some of whoever I was in me, there is some of Berber in that creature. And if you bring Henri, if you bring her husband, then I'm sure they will let you through the gates. They will not harm you. You can get right up to her. There's other things you should consider. If you put a stop to this, if you find some way to destroy her, and she's not like me. She's not made of porcelain. Stronger stuff, not impenetrable, but more powerful. If you destroy her, then although the magic will stop, it will not. The people inside, they will still be mad. They will rush and they will act and they will riot. It could spread throughout the city. There's many of the main routes just near the theater. They could head past the museum. They could head anywhere right out into the open. You would need some way to isolate them, to stop them. You could block the bridges somehow, or find a way to keep them localized. You could save many lives.
There is a chance. I have considered this already.
Look, what kind of bridges?
There's many passageways outside to the rest of Berlin. If you could block those passageways, you'd stop the crazed cultists who have devoted themselves to her from spreading further throughout the city.
Right. When you say considered, do you mean with blockades? Or...
No, that would not quite be my style.
Have you already... No, we can talk.
No, I think the plans need to be made now. Are you concerned about going out there yourself?
I am delicate. I should not leave the building. But I had, and she sort of sits down for a second. She says, I thought that tonight would be my last night. I thought that if the world didn't end, then you would find me, and if you found me, then he would kill me. But if he is dead, or dealt with, then I don't know what I'll do.
So we'd have one last task for you. You have figured out which bridges, which passageways need to be blocked?
I know the city well, yes.
In that case, I think if you find those places and you search well enough, you may find concealed explosives.
He kind of she stops and nods. Says, you want me to set them off to cause the blockades?
Yes.
How would I do that? With fire or?
Yes, I think that should work.
You would know enough
there
to
is,
be able to. Yeah.
If there is not an obvious way to do it, there would be.
Yes.
Do you have some kind of tinder you could...
I would have made arrangements.
Do you want to make a power test at this stage, having basically figured out what your plan was?
Yes. I will do that. Success.
Woo.
2.
Flashing images begin to sort of come back into your brain and put together, true montage style, and you remember setting these up. Well, you don't remember it, but you realize what the plans meant, and you feel kind of an otherworldly detachment. Around the areas where the dome would have been, not the center of the dome, you have set a ring of a blockade, essentially. And this would have been, in your mind, to keep the dreamers inside from escaping, but it will have the same effect here of keeping the...
Clever dog. Oh, yeah. Where's your mortal launcher?
Oh, yeah, that's still missing.
Not to glorify explosives and mass violence,
glorify.
But that's pretty good. That's handy.
Yet to have a campaign not solved with explosives.
Good. I would deliver the instructions
All
to
right.
her. I'm going to find them and detonate.
It takes probably about 5-10 minutes, at which point you come back, brushing your jacket down. Everyone sort of looks towards you. Do you say anything, or?
What?
We have a plan.
Good.
Do you want to hear? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to go into the theater.
Okay.
We're going to take. Henri is here, by the way, in the bathroom crying.
You said that out loud. So as you hear that, you hear like a yelp from inside, and so no, I'm not. Oh no, I am betrayed. And then running footsteps which approach the door, and I'm going to call her Irma because essentially reaches forward and she just turns the latch, and you hear like a like yelling from inside the bathroom.
He is wailing in that awful language.
Some bullshit.
Okay, so
that man was the one that sent us into the dream world. Was the one that took years of our life. Well, let's have a word with him as well then.
Apparently he's insane.
Yeah, good. Maybe his madness will bring insight into what he's done.
I think we keep him mentally in one piece for as long as we need him to get into the theatre.
Mentally can be done.
We need him to get into the theatre.
Can question him a little bit, I'd like to know. And how?
That is knowledge that will not help us save the city. It is knowledge that may be found tomorrow morning if we are still alive.
You lost years of your life. Surely you are curious why or how he did it.
I am.
Can't change it now.
There are hundreds of people trapped in there, thousands. Perhaps we can save more.
Okay, but if he gets upset, we
won't.
need to prioritize. Anyway, so then we're gonna kill Porcelain Berber.
Right. Just porcelain.
Well, apparently she's stronger. Maybe like double
She's
glazed.
not. She would be more difficult to metal. I'm not sure exactly what was made, but she would be sturdier than I am and than we were. She would be difficult.
And then, why don't you? It's your plan, so I don't want to.
And then to prevent chaos from spreading any further than the theatre, block off routes, bridges, passages, streets
Take forever.
with explosives.
What?
I remember now. That is where the rest of the explosives are. Our friend here will be able to detonate them with impeccable timing.
Okay. Yeah, good. I need to take the initiative. Yeah, no. If they are there, then they should be used, I suppose. And you don't think many people will be hurt? Do you remember where they are exactly?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when we kill Berber, then there will be a riot. And because they are blocked off, they cannot go anywhere. And they cannot hurt anyone else. Will they subside eventually?
She kind of... There will be some chaos, as far as I'm aware. You must also know, most importantly, and unfortunately, and she looks across the three of you, you are all men, which means you will be under her spell somewhat. Be prepared. Many upon laying eyes on her will throw themselves at her feet.
You've got your fencing helmet, so just don't look.
Yeah. And you've got goggles.
Well, they're not.
Yeah, but you can close your eyes inside them and
There's-
pretend that you're still looking.
I would be shocked if any ounce of my spirit could summon any spark of love for that.
I mean, it's not really her, though. It's an Egyptian goddess. Anyway.
There is some of her still in there, and if you did not love her in life, then perhaps you will have some better luck. But
My grander concern is that once we have destroyed the woman, we have created an island of mad people.
It should eventually subside, but
Yeah.
that is a second part of our design that it should not be embarked on right
Yeah, but
now.
in the meantime, we will be stuck there with them, with
Yes.
no way to get off.
if you want to avoid chaos completely, there is one other way. If you venture in and you do not try to kill Berber, instead you accept the goddess's magic, you allow the spell to wash over you, then there is a chance that you will be able to... The Ishtar gate, the concept of the gate is as metaphysical as it is real. she may bring you back into the dream of Berlin. If from there you are able to destroy her, then it is possible that she will simply cease to exist entirely. The automaton will stop functioning, and that may be a more peaceful way to do things. But I do not know how you would kill her in Dream Berlin.
We'll have to take opportunities as they arise then.
Well then, so Omri is our ticket.
So hang on, are we okay with going back to Dream Berlin?
How do I can help it?
I thought we weren't really keen on that place.
I would rather we deal with her in person, barricade ourselves or something, and ride out the mad wave.
We destroy her with any opportunity that we can take.
It sounds like you have a plan.
It sounds like it. Sounds to me deceiving.
There is a continued conversation for a time, and then you will let Henri out. Are there any particular questions you ask
Come here,
him?
you little nerd.
Yeah. He begins to blabber at you in English. Once again, there is a language barrier here.
Speak German, you You're welcome. If I yell at him enough, does I like piano dreaming?
He will blabber things at Irma, who will translate and basically say he says he was tricked. He was a patsy.
Yeah.
He did not know what would happen. He is terrified. Yes, he is awful. Yes, he is a murderer. Yes, he will go to hell. But he did not want this. He did not want this. All he wanted was fame and power.
Yeah, that is becoming a theme. This is the second man we have met who has decided that now things have gone poorly. He does not want to play the game anymore.
Well, he's coming with us.
Yeah, he's going to make amends, aren't you, big man? You're welcome.
Don't bully him. We need him.
I'm not bullying him. I've pushed him a bit towards the stairs.
No!
Let's go.
And you head off, and you will return to the car. You begin to make your way. But we are going to jump onto a short break. When we are back,
Everything is worse.
we will visit the theater itself, and we will bring the scenario to an end. We'll be right back. Thanks for watching.
Cha-chang.
Hello, we're back. Thank you for hanging around and sticking with us. We're here. We're ready to pull this campaign to an end as we dive into the finale of Berlin, the Wicked City. So, you've gone through. You have spoken to the Irma Core doll, strange character. You have banded together. You are now ready to head towards the theatre and confront Ishtar, Abayazu. You're ready to confront a god.
We'll certainly try.
Stab a god.
Don't think we can make any promises.
We're going
right.
to confront.
We'll
Confront doesn't determine the outcome.
That's true.
We will bracingly. I don't have a second word.
So,
We will adverb.
We'll figure out the end of the
Noun.
sentence when we arrive.
We will verb death.
you load into your car. The roof is now open. The windshield is broken.
The roof is open.
Well, it's always
roof?
been
Was
open.
there a roof?
There was never a roof. And as you pile in, you take a glance
God.
and you sort of look across at your companions as you all load in. Henri in the back, sort of shaking. You've popped him down.
Was he dressed?
Yeah, he was.
yeah.
You would have. He had like actually a very fancy suit.
Okay, so
and
he's not like
you would have forced
naked.
him. You would have forced him back.
I
into,
was
like,
imagining he was like in the bath.
he was, but you get him dressed with
Right.
a little coercion. It's not great.
Yeah. This is the crew. Alright, good.
And you load up into this car and you sort of give it a couple of... It takes a little bit to start this time, and you kick the car off and you begin to drive through, rolling out. It is actually getting towards morning now. It is probably just past heading towards midnight.
Oh, no.
And you think it's going to just be morning.
Technically, yes, it is almost.
See you tomorrow, guys.
It's dark. The lights of Berlin.
We'll kill Ishtar tomorrow.
Dear me. Yeah, just a couple more hours won't make any difference. You've only got cat-headed people wandering around.
Fuck, I reckon midnight might be a deadline.
And anyone putting out any sand? Any mud?
Get off that!
As
Be
you
nice.
You begin to drive through, and the lights that normally, the sounds and lights that usually like bustle through Berlin at this time have all sort of faded away. Except as you begin to get closer to this theater, you hear them again, sounds, noise, and you see this glowing light arising like a mecca. As you drive through and head towards the center, it seems like everything is pulling in towards this one space. The wind somehow emanates, but also draws you in towards it as you head deeper and deeper. Now, some characters have been with us for a long time, some not as long. Can I ask everybody to quickly, just as we head towards a final climactic scene, give me a quick description of your characters as they are now, and maybe as they were. What's changed? What's new about them? What's the slide been, and what do they seem to be doing? How are they spending what may well be their final moments?
So I'm gonna start. So Percy, when we met him, was this like impressionable. He was 27.
Sweet boy.
What year did we start? How long? How many years?
Used 1924.
And it's been 4 years.
It has been 4 years.
Okay, so he's 31 now. So when we met Percy, he was this like young, kind of fun lefty. He would ride around on a bike, taking photos for the little magazine that he worked on with Elsie and Yosef. He was a former war photographer. He was a little bit like haunted by that, but was, I would say, fairly optimistic. He was anti-violence. I should know that. And you know what? I don't think he had a very good run, man. Like, he had he had to like flee his apartment because someone died out the front of it. He went to jail a bunch of times. He got stuck in he went to the dream world, came out, having been back to jail. I think Percy has had a bad run, but I think what's happened to him over these 4 years is that he is way more chill about things now, because like, fuck it, he could go back to jail tomorrow. I think he's just kind of mellowed out a little bit and is a little bit more go with the flow rather than being kind of like rigid and in routines. And in these kind of like final moments, I wrote down that he was anti-violence, and I wonder if that is still true.
If you feel that is no longer the case, I would encourage you to resoundly strike that from your character street.
I think, I think he's had...
Take an anti.
Oh.
Or add another anti.
I am violence?
Add another anti. Anti-violence.
Behold.
I reckon he is kind of, kind of excited having had like just a couple of years of sitting around and being sad. He's excited to do something and to write things again after so many years.
I think that's absolutely wonderful. Fantastic. Thank you, Percy. Well, who wants to go next?
Okay, I mean, Klaus was a more recent addition, and when he joined, he was very confident. He had scars, which he's only added to, and I think he had a understanding of the world and also a perception of the strangeness beyond it, and a certain positive attitude towards some of that, which has been basically resoundingly rebuffed. Every encounter he's had with the mythos since then has been negative and terrifying and just effing awful. So he is just been sort of ground down a little bit. I think he's shown a bit more of roughness now, and he's rather blunt. So as he's heading towards his final confrontation, he's very willing to resolve this one way or another, and I don't think there's very many boundaries he won't cross to wrap this.
To put this all to an end.
That's the one.
Fantastic. Joseph.
Oh man.
The eternal Joseph.
Where should I begin?
Yeah.
And thank you, Klaus, as well, I should have said.
Oh, thank you, James.
I think when we first met Joseph, he returned from the war, missing the leg, and become quite disillusioned with his country, the government that had failed him. So he was a little bit, aimless, wandering the streets, doing his best to support this communist publication that at least spoke about hope and getting him back on his feet. And then he lost Elsie. Well, he feels like he failed Elsie. And Elsie was essentially destroyed by the mythos. And then that kind of gave him a new lease on life, as it were. He did his best to kind of get that fighting spirit back. And then he also became a train conductor in the Dreamlands, and also he didn't. And so he's still kind of a little bit muddled up after having come out of the Dreamlands, not really sure which half of him is him anymore, and still yet to figure that out for sure. But seems to have been doing good, and seems to want to continue to do good the best he can.
Determined to do well in the world, determined to help.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Henri sits in the back, a quivering, gibbering mess
Shut up,
to accompany all of that. As you head towards the center of the city, the wind picks up, it is dark, and eventually you can't see the obstacles on the ground, and when you hit someone who is sort of crawling across, you decide you can't drive this car safely anymore. They get up and continue to sprint across, but you get out and you begin to kind of stroll through the streets.
One of 9 lives, they're fine.
Henri is sort of not moving, he's just kind of terrified. He's going to require like chaperoning. Who is chaperoning?
Is pretty strong.
Okay. He gets up.
He can walk himself.
All right. You shove him if he
I
needs it.
don't have a lot of strength.
He will walk himself.
You have something pointy to poke him with.
Oh, yeah, he is walking.
Yeah, you are chaperoning.
I'm also very
him,
strong. If I need to, I will lift him and carry him.
Are you strong?
Yeah, I'm a huge man.
You continue along.
Ask me about the character.
Oh, but what? Okay. What's
your
your character like?
Also strong.
He almost went to the Olympics, actually.
He did almost go to the Olympics.
And as you walk through these twisting streets, you eventually begin to approach the theatre itself, and at the edge of your hearing, this rising noise begins to build and build and build and build until at last, as you emerge into the open, you see the theatre before you, and you can see this crowd of people surrounding you, all drawn to the theatre. And this is the heart of Ishtar's influence. There is just this noise that is blaring down consistently around you. The people who revel around the outside of the theatre are mostly naked, or they are injured, or they are drunk, or they are taking drugs, they are dancing. Many of them have the heads of lions, or the heads of cats, or the heads of dogs. You are now seeing carpeted across the street. There are rats just sort of moving through, spiders, cockroaches, bugs, and you continue to walk forward. These people swell around you, and as they look in, they all begin to sort of be aggressive towards you almost immediately. But the presence of Henri sort of gives them pause, and they all form, and you essentially have him forward, and he's forming like a bubble, and they're hovering at the outside of it, and some of them are snarling or hissing or barking inwardly at you, but you continue forward, heading towards the gates of this grand, enormous theatre building. What do you have your weapons out? What? Yeah, so you've got your sword out.
I'm gonna check how much ammo did Percy find.
You probably found about 30 shots total, so you probably split those.
You've already got a full chamber though.
Yeah. So did you, right?
Yeah,
Was it reloaded? Yeah.
Okay.
We got 8 in the gun each and 15 in the pocket.
Alright, sure. I'm hiding mine. I don't have mine out. There's no reason to have it out.
No, I don't have it out.
You don't have so neither of you have your weapons out. You're both behind. Yeah.
I probably have it on my hand.
Okay.
My hand on it.
Yes.
In my pocket.
How close are we?
You're probably about 50 meters from the front of the building at this stage.
Alright, I'm gonna pull up my fencing helmet and then shuffling my tie off, I pull it up over my eyes and then tighten it on the side so it's not dangling like an elephant's nose. And working on the assumption that if I can't see Berber, she can't seduce. I'll make it clear that I'm blindfolded to you two, so you can hopefully direct me in the right direction. Then I'll pull the fencing thing back down, so it's not clear that I am blindfolded.
Okay.
And I'll continue with one arm on Henri, basically letting him lead me.
Yeah.
And a sword in his back.
And the three of you continue heading further and further until finally you arrive at the grand steps up to this theatre, and you walk in and come into it itself. It's this massive vaulted place. You can see columns. I showed you a picture of it earlier. It's quite a bizarre looking facility, more of something out of like a futurist piece of architecture or something strange like that. You continue to stroll through looking around. The people are following you now. You now have this wave of people at your back. And you can hear music, you can hear sounds, you can hear yells. You walk into the stands and you begin to pass through the seats bit by bit. There are people lounging in all of the chairs, yelling, screaming. Every kind of debauchery you can imagine is going on around you. And sitting on the stage at the very, very back in all these sort of luxurious, amongst these pillows and mattresses and gold and jewels that have been laid out, right at her feet there are piles of wedding rings that have been sort of just laid down and tossed to one side. There is sitting a woman with black obsidian skin and golden hair, and she is the most otherworldly, strange-looking creature that you have ever seen, and all you can think about is gazing upon her forever. Everyone needs to make a power check. You do not, because you are blindfolded. You need to make it with advantage.
Oh. I didn't think I'd get that.
Are you kidding me?
You sly dog.
Alright, I got a success 3.
Well done.
Get that up.
Bang on success 3.
Oh my god, just when you need it, really.
Yeah,
the two of you walk forward, and what is it that disgusts you about this? What is it that says, no, I'm not falling for this? Why are your characters able to resist?
Is this a good time to... This is probably a good time to say the thing that I've had in my head for the past 8 sessions.
Please.
Oh.
Percy does not bat for this team.
Excellent. Yeah.
That's just not into it.
So you're kind of just like this is she's a somewhat fascinating creature, but there is a draw that just washes over you, and then you're able to just peek past and see all the fucked up terrible things that are happening around you, and you go, I'm not going to fall for this. What about you, Joseph?
She still has the face of Berber, right?
Yes,
Which,
visibly. Not exactly, but similar, yes.
Yeah, well, in my mind, those features are exaggerated and extenuated because I spent so much time hating that woman for blaming her for Elsie's demise.
Mm-hmm.
And then, having heard that she just died yesterday without any kind of fanfare.
Wait, was it
as
yesterday?
Was like, yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
2 days ago, I think now, technically, but yes. No, it would have been yesterday.
It's been this week.
Yeah.
This week.
I felt like, that was taken away from me, and yet now that I see at least part of her here, that fire is relit.
Yeah, just this burning sort of pit of hatred.
Yeah.
You're managing. You had so much thrown at you, Percy. For once, you are not going to let yourself be taken over by all the terrible things happening around you. You continue forward.
Yeah. What are you guys
You were
looking
staggering.
at?
You have weird noises. You don't know what you're guys thinking, what you're seeing, and it's almost more terrifying for you.
Yeah.
Which means that I will require you and everyone else to make a sanity test.
Hot dog. Fair. By 1, god damn it.
Oh,
Now, I want to luck
yay.
that. It's a D6 on a fail.
I failed.
What if I will spend 1 point of luck? Thank
Wait,
you,
I
James.
failed a thing before and I did not take any.
It was a single point of damage for the fail that you had.
Well, I failed anyway.
Avert your eyes and I'll be silent this time.
I'm already blindfolded.
I wonder what he means. How much?
Oh yes, it was indeed.
Okay.
Do you roll dice if you succeed?
Or did we roll dice just to convince
true,
you?
yeah.
You're right.
Excellent.
Oh, it could be a clever ruse.
All right.
Alright, back in business.
Okay. So you can open your eyes now.
I'm going to keep mine closed until I am blindfolded.
Joseph is now naked.
You're walking through the stalls and you're right at the front of the theatre. As you walk past these people engaged in all kinds of debauchery, they stop and they look towards you and they rise to their feet and they begin to follow you. You have this crowd of people now following after you, and you move forward closer and closer, eventually moving to the front of the stage, where you come to a stop because in front of you, Henri freezes and just starts going, no.
Gentlemen.
He keeps going, takes a couple of steps forward, and then he sprawls forward and actually sort of lands at the steps going up the stage and cowers. And before your eyes, the two of you don't know what's going on. You see this figure, this porcelain figure, obsidian black figure rather, watch and stand and begin to walk forward. And she or it moves with this otherworldly grace. And as she walks, you can see that her skin appears to be almost smoky, made out of kind of this mist that rises and goes as she strolls forward. And she reaches at the edge and she looks down. She says, "I know this man. Who have you brought for me?" Upon hearing her voice, you were going to need to make a power test with advantage.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hey. Hey.
Yeah, success.
All right, it
Success.
worms into your mind, but you manage to just close your eyes and force it out, focusing on your breathing like you did when you were fighting.
Like you, Henri, swift kick up the ass
Who
where he
have
is.
we brought?
He sort of staggers forward and he's sort of trapped, trembling. You can see tears streaming down his face, and she reaches out and she goes, shh, takes him and pulls him close and begins to hold him against her. And he's sort of shivering and shaking, but seems to still. She looks down and says, "Poor little thing. I know this man. Tell me, did this man mourn the passing of his wife?"
I would say so.
He
Did
did?
you know her?
She turns towards you and looks you up and down. You can feel like every part of you being evaluated and broken down by her gaze. And she says, "I knew her well, yes. And he mourned. He did. Was he always faithful?"
I don't know that we wouldn't. I don't think we know.
We do know.
Why do we?
We
Yeah.
found him in a brothel.
Oh, he was in a wrong.
We know he wasn't. Are you
Sorry,
lying
I
and
mean,
saying?
I guess sorry, that didn't register.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
No.
Oh. Terrible. A terrible thing to do to someone. And she looks towards him. And she's holding his head up against her breast. And she leans down and she begins to kiss him. And he kisses her back. for a couple of seconds, sort of standing awkwardly, and then suddenly he starts to writhe slightly and go, and blood starts to drip in between their mouths.
What are we doing?
And then she pulls her head away, and you can see like bloody flesh sort of disappearing into her mouth, and he collapses to the ground where he's shaking, and arteries worth of blood are just kind of flowing from his mouth as he lands on the ground there. She turns and she says, "Thank you. You've brought me a gift, a wonderful gift." What are we doing?
I'm casing the joint.
Right.
What?
Is she just here on her own?
So
There's
there's a bunch of
this
them on, like,
crowd of people behind her.
Yeah, but
She doesn't have any like guard. She doesn't have. You could jump and touch her right now.
Right.
You absolutely
She was
could.
up on a stage.
She's you are now on the stairs, sort of coming up to the stage. You're close. You're within feet of her now. You know.
Structures or objects.
I mean, there's these awnings, these great sort of Titanic columns that hold everything.
But nothing that she has brought.
What do you mean?
Oh, there's no like bits of like perhaps the temple.
No, nothing like that.
She's just rocked
No.
up. You say there are pillars.
There are pillars. Yeah, this place is built with sort of like large pillars everywhere and stuff
And
like
as
that.
an engineer, how sturdy are those pillars?
This is a pretty well-built building. You're not going to be able to cause a collapse immediately without explosives, and you did not bring any.
No.
Yes.
I was assuming there'd be some here.
Possibly.
Which is what I am casting my eyes around for.
Make an engineering check.
Engineering or artillery?
Artillery, yes.
I'm hearing these two discuss talking with her and not seeming to be effective. I'm going to unblindfold.
A little push.
Which
Which is me like wandering off.
Let's come back to that.
By all means.
Okay.
I'm going to tug it off.
So you look around you. You
What's
can't
the
see
floor?
anything where things would have been hidden. I will let you push and say that you had some kind of idea that this would be the kind of location where she would appear. This is the center of the dome. If you fail this roll, she found the explosives and knows that you're trying to kill her.
Ooh.
Do it.
That's fine.
The stakes are high, Jackson.
I don't want to see this one either.
In fact, actually, I'll tell you what. Give me those dice.
Yes, it was a 4.
So I will tell you.
There's a 4.
And what's
on
your
the
engineering?
10s. Well, you keep the 4.
Yep. So I've got the 4.
And there's the 10s.
Yep.
What's your
my
engineering?
engineering is 70. So that's pretty good odds.
That's a
Yeah.
good chance.
6 in 10.
Yeah, but it's also a 4 in
Just taking a picture of this, so
That's-
no one calls me a liar.
That's,
Adjust the camera point. Oh no, it will risk screwing him
No.
up. Don't touch anything.
All of you look away for a second.
I don't like this. I would like.
Okay, please look back. You're all
Where
good.
can I have them?
Here are your dice back.
So you're telling me I've identified the place where there would be.
Yeah, and you as you are looking around, you can see that this is a sort of older theatre that was built during times when orchestra pits were more common, and you would think an orchestra pit right in the center. Currently, there's like it's covered here, but if you went backstage and headed down, there would probably be explosives.
That is where I would put them.
Yes, absolutely. That is where you would put the explosives.
That is where I would put.
This creature continues to watch the
Do I
lot
need
of you.
to roll?
Pulling off your blindfold, you are going to need to roll for me. Yes, and you can roll with advantage because you've been exposed to her in increments.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
It's because 2.
What disgusts you about her, Klaus? What makes you able to resist her?
Well, the corpse on the floor for 1.
Yes.
And all the fuckery that's been afoot for 2.
Wait, is Henri still,
Absolutely fair
is Henri
enough.
still alive?
I assume he's dead.
He's twitching has stopped, but
good.
you do not know if he still lives. There is a lot of blood. She looks across the three of you and says, "I must return your gift with a gift. Come with me. I will show you. I'll show you something wonderful." And she turns and she begins to lead you towards the side exit of the theatre, which is away from the backstage area.
Why are we stalling? Strike her now. We have a short window. It is not going to get any wider.
At the same time, we should know what she's doing.
She doesn't seem to suspect us. Catch her off guard. She could be turned around.
She is turned at this stage. You have your sword. You can see she's walking. Her skin. You can see the people are beginning to follow her. You're in the middle of a crowd. What likely will happen? And you can sort of read the room a little bit. What do you want to say?
I just want to say, can we tell what her skin is made of, or like what she is made of? She can't be made of obsidian, because that.
You can make a chemistry test.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna do some spectroscopy with my eyes.
Oh.
Bum.
Yay!
Swing. I will let you choose one of these two outcomes. You either become convinced that she is incredibly breakable and will be completely broken as soon as you hit her with like a fist, or you become convinced that she's completely invincible and guns, explosive, whatever, she's invincible. You're going to have to find another way. You can choose which one of those you become convinced of.
Okay, the first one is more hilarious.
Okay.
Second one, it's also too easy because then we just hit her and like, oh. So I'm gonna go the second one because it's funnier story-wise.
Okay, so you look at it and you get bullets will bounce off. You have no idea what is going to happen here. You are completely convinced this is terrible. Do you relay this information?
Yeah, she's made of. I know what it is. Some kind of. These will do nothing.
Well, we are losing our window.
Follow and we watch and we learn from
Fine.
outside.
If she tries to kill someone else, I'm going to try, at least.
If I die, under the orchestra pit.
I think we lose a
Yep.
chance to respond. Yeah.
Yeah.
This just leaves him.
You begin to walk forward, and she heads towards the side door of the theatre, and she walks out, and she emerges onto the streets of Berlin. Now outside of her lair, of the center of her kingdom, the wind is completely whipping around, and as she walks, this crowd begins to follow you further and further, and you begin to weave through onto one of the main roads until you are strolling down through the streets in complete silence, apart from the howling wind and the steady marching feet of all of these people around you. You all vaguely feel like you're back on the front, surrounded by all these marching people. You're all on the western front, weren't you?
Sure.
Sure.
Yes,
I
you
wasn't on the front.
You weren't on the front. The two of you previously said you were on the western front.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Yes.
I think she made it to Paris.
yeah, there is no mud, but apart from that, you are sort of, it is similar. There is this buffeting thing. There are corpses lying around, and you are sort of trudging endlessly on. And she begins to walk forward, and you can hear echoing sort of in the air around you. Softly, the people behind you begin to hum, and they are humming the same tune that Anita Berber danced to so long when she performed Ishtar, the dance. You continue forward, and gradually out of the distance in front of you, there's no fog because it's incredibly windy, but just sort of hovering up over the horizon, comes the shape of the Brandenburg Gate. You begin to walk down, getting further and further towards it. And as she heads closer and closer, she says, I will show you. Gift will lead you into a world of beauty.
No.
Don't want this.
People around you are getting so excited at this prospect, and they're beginning to sprint towards the gate. And as they sort of run towards it, you can see they sort of stroll through, and there's this mass of people that are now beginning to funnel around her into it, but they don't appear to be funneling out to the other side. They are running into the gate, and that appears to be the end of it, but you are right surrounded near her, and she is walking. She turns towards the three of you, and you are now surrounded by this sort of teardrop, this crowd of people that are continuing to walk as she watches, eyes flicking one to the other, each of you, and she says, will you accept my gift?
She has done here has been bad. Nothing she can offer us will. She is trying to bring about something.
I don't want to go back, but you know what's on the other side really well. Do you think we have a better chance there than here?
Oh. Yeah, I have my weapons.
Here we are on our turf. In there, it is hers.
One of us is gonna have to say something. I think we're all too terrified to speak.
You're kind of whispering to each other.
Yeah,
She's pretty happy. She's sitting there and she doesn't appear to be. She's almost beyond listening to you. She's drifting. Her eyes are flicking about.
Your gift. What would you bestow upon us? And where do you intend to take us? Where are those people going?
They're going into a place they have only dreamed of. And there I will bring to them such ecstasy that they cannot understand.
Will they leave? Will they come back? Ever?
They will not want to. They will see the truth. In there, you will see me, vulnerable, as I am meant to be, naked before you.
And what will happen here?
Here,
Will the storm continue? Will these people continue to change?
she kind of hesitates there and she says, there's no difference here or there. There's walls between places. You don't understand. You would if you stepped through, but mind is so limited. But I can open it for you.
We have been there once before, so we understand better than you think.
I've not been to the place that is my dream. I've been to a place of shadows, but now I am there. It's so much.
Step forward, one of you. You have a moment. I'm going to strike.
What if we?
She will just come back. She is in control there. Step forward, I'm going to strike.
She starts to kind of softly hum to herself, and then she turns towards you. She says, I know you are trying to kill me. I found your explosives.
Ha ha ha! It's like.
I
Wow,
give
got
you a
him.
chance to witness the truth of my beauty. Step through, and I will show you everything. If not, and she like turns towards you because you're essentially the one here with the weapon. And she raises her arms and she says, strike once, strike true. And if not, I will bring upon you a suffering the likes of which no mortal has ever imagined.
Forward, please, or I'm going to attack her.
What, into the gate?
What are you all doing? Klaus is there.
found-
Are we surrounded by people kind of like around us?
If you tried to run left or right, you're basically you're trapped.
Like a schoolyard
You
fight,
are
I'll put it back.
you are going into the gate, or are you staying here with her and confronting her?
Do I get the impression she's talking about ones in the theater or like or any and all?
Which explosive?
Yeah. Because I am now checking out this gate.
You don't really have a good set of sight lines here. You're surrounded by a crowd.
Yeah.
You would get the sense she probably meant one.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Like I can't see though.
Yeah.
So I will trust that I have identified the exact structural weakness in the Brandenburg Gate
Oh,
Yep.
man.
and make a beeline
All right.
for that spot.
And you begin to walk forward. Percy?
I am going to ready my pistol to see if I can disperse the crowd. I have a lot of shots. Basically, I'm going to test if I shoot just above them, will they disperse? At least somewhat?
They look pretty
or are they definitely
frenzied,
like...
don't they?
They look pretty frenzied right now. You were trained in psychology. If you pull out a gun and test this, you are going to initiate. That will mean you have chosen to fight here. You are moving for the gate. So you have made the call that you are heading towards it.
Allegedly going through the gate.
Yes.
But in fact seeking to destroy it.
Yes.
Alright, well, seeing that, I won't attack.
You
I'll
walk
move
forward as well.
I think we're going for the gate.
The two of you now walking. Percy, you are now the last
Actually,
one
would
there.
it be possible for me to make a psychology test to know what he's going for? Is that I have basic
No,
psychology.
you all planned pretty effectively, and I'll allow that to happen.
he's a dumb.
Here's the thing: the
Yeah, I don't know this man.
I'll tell you what.
I don't think we can rate him.
I'm pretty. Yeah, you are trusting that you have done this. This is not in the area. This is not in the final loop that you have placed, and you have sort of your memories back. You do not remember the Brandenburg Gate as one of them. It'll be an outside chance.
Sounds like
That's my favorite kind.
he's stalling. There's definitely bumps.
It's my favorite kind of chance.
All right.
Do we have any...
I'm going to stop this woman.
The two of you are walking forward. You kind of don't have much time to talk now. You're-
I will also, but I will be behind slightly,
Yep. All right.
like a triangle.
So you begin to walk forward, and really, midnight does not have any significance here. I'm happy to say.
What a twist.
But for stylistic points, as you begin to approach, the bells of midnight begin to sound.
No, it's
as
more
you,
of a doo 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 doo.
as you head
loud.
closer and closer towards the gate. You were the first one, and you kind of found yourself bustling through the crowd. You close your eyes and you step forward, and you keep walking, and you keep walking. The two of you lose sight of Joseph in the crowd. Keep walking. You keep walking. You keep walking. If you're doing anything else, correct me. But you are swallowed by
As
the
far as
crowd.
I understand, we're going through the gate.
Searching for those explosives.
Searching for those explosives. Make for me an artillery test.
I do apologize. This is a crutch.
No.
It is the
please.
only crutch I
I
have.
imagine you will have to roll pretty well for this.
I'm going to
much luck do you
require. I'll tell you what. I'm going to require a success 3 from you.
Yeah, nah.
If you push this roll, the penalty will be that you'll kill Irma because you have not set them up properly. Your call.
It's not actual Irma.
It's the
She is not-
doll. It's doll
She's a
Irma.
doll.
She's not a real person.
It's a person. It's dreams.
She's not real. She's kind of a doll. I mean, look.
dreams.
Okay.
Talk to us. They want to be free.
Even if she is a real person,
as slaves. Now remember, you
some
can't.
people
Do you have enough?
to
do you have-
die. Wait, sorry.
This woman will not die forever. Do you have enough luck
The two
to
angels
push
of
this
the
to a
devil.
success 3?
I have enough luck to push it to a success. It's a fail right now.
And
The
you
good news
can't
is it's
luck.
a 4. That's a 2 in 10 chance of rolling a success
that's
3.
not that high.
I like those odds.
That's like a 1
Are we
in
swapping teams?
5.
Do it.
Are you talking about like a failure if she dies?
Remember, you
Or
can't.
if I get a success 2, she dies.
You can't. I'll tell you what. There will be a risk if you fail. So here's how we're going to do it. If you fail, you're going to kill her. If you success 1, I will give her a chance to survive based on one of her skill rolls. And if you get a success 2, I'll give her a higher chance. If you get a success 3, I'll give her a higher chance.
So even a success 3, she has a chance to die.
Yes.
Fuck it. Luck it.
And remember, you can't luck a pushed roll.
No, but it's not pushed yet.
Oh, I can't.
He doesn't have the luck to
Can
do
like
it.
this to a regular success? Or I
Oh.
can
But she's not dying at this currently. It's if you push it.
I like the odds.
All right.
34 is a success 2.
Fucking
Bang
hell.
on, success 2.
You step forward, and as you are stepping forward, you feel yourself begin to sort of stagger. The same feeling of blurring that happened
what?
when you were. Yep.
Here's your 20 points of luck, sir.
You can't luck a push. I apologize so much. But you see that same point of blurring moving through, and you remember to yourself, suddenly poking back into your memory is a time of yourself, because you're blurring in and you begin to become your dream self slightly, of sitting in your apartment, doing through your plans and going, the Brandenburg Gate, it's too much. I couldn't cross that one right off. And you kind of, as you,
Shit.
and a second later, you are gone, and the two of you are vanished, and you see them both vanish, and you walk forward, and you can hear her walking right behind her, footsteps directly behind her. You're going to walk through the gate? You're going to try anything?
I'm a pretty big dude. What if I just like fell over? I like knock a bunch. Start like a domino effect.
What would that do?
That would be fun. I don't have anything else to do. How far away from the gate am I?
You're sort of like, you'll be below it in like 10 meters, walking through it.
And she's right behind me.
Yep, she's right behind you. You've walked into the lion's
I
den.
think that she's impenetrable.
As she said, she was vulnerable on the other side. Here. She wouldn't lie
I
to
don't
us.
have guns. Alright.
My sword went through. Last time we went into the dream.
Yeah. She's gonna be right there. I didn't want to, but I feel like we have a better chance on the other side. I don't know.
And so you're heading through
I'm not trying to.
with a dawning sense of horror. So you stop, and you feel her hand press into your back and begin to slowly start to push you. You're going to have to actively resist if you don't want to go through.
And I can't see either of these two.
We've gone through.
They've gone through, and you can't see them coming out the other side. You can now see that as people go through, you can almost see like the shimmery expanse of Dream Berlin in front of you. And I'll tell you one last thing. At 5 meters now, you start to hear in the distance and see large pillars of smoke begin to appear in sort of like this circle directly around.
Oh my god, okay.
And this is in the distance. These are the explosives that Joseph had set up.
Fine, I will head through because I. Yeah.
Okay. Step through. You close your eyes.
Shit.
All of you can hear soft piano music playing.
That's worse.
And when you open your eyes, you are inside the concert hall that you were at just before, and you were sitting in the same seats, and you were sort of slumped down. You look about all of a sudden, and you are inside the same concert hall in Dream Berlin where you woke up so long ago now.
Okay.
And you can see the piano in front of you, and everything is the same except the entire place is filled with these great, thick, throbbing vines, tentacles. You're not sure what they are. The piano is coiled with them, and they are like reaching across, and they are actually playing music on the piano themselves. As you sort of stagger to your feet, you're walking across these vines. You can feel your feet sort of squelch into them. And as you gaze out for a second, running out onto the balcony, you can see once again in the distance this great dome, except it is completely covered in tentacles. And at the top, there is this enormous set of 3 eyes wrapped up in a great mess of twisting black flesh, alien abomination that stretches high into the sky. If anyone wants to Google Shub-Nagrath, I can get an idea of what you are looking at. Everyone make a sanity test as you gaze upon this world covered in tentacles.
Oh, we fucked up.
Yeah, we should have taken a shot. Y'all want to roll before I do?
Chance of that.
How do you spell that?
Fail. If there's ever a time to luck it, it's now.
Oh, dang.
Nice though.
Nice.
You guys suck.
Oh man, Jim, you're like.
20 points, Jim.
I'll tell you the consequence, right?
I don't want to. I'm doing it. I'm locking it.
You're locking it? Cool.
Yeah, I just didn't figure out how much it is. Oh man, like I'm close to indefinite of today. This has been a long day.
Oh wow.
I didn't see it.
Gee
Although I presume you
whiz.
failed.
How do you spell the name of that thing?
Shub-Nagrath.
SHUB-NIGGURATH.
What am I losing here?
On a fail, you will lose 1d100. For witnessing the disaster of
What the? What? No, you misspoke.
Joseph,
Seriously,
you will be
no.
going insane at this point, but never fear, because
How much do we lose?
you will be losing a d100.
Real.
You will be losing a d100
No,
upon
like-
seeing an elder
Okay,
god.
I get this is fun for you. How much do we?
You know what? This is terribly not fun for me. I hate seeing this. Joseph, never fear. You will likely go insane here, but
Don't worry.
that is quite all right, because you'll continue to act for a time, and we'll direct your insanity, and we'll see what happens to your character as you continue.
I might not. I'm
You
gonna
might
lose
not.
D100.
Yeah, there is a possibility.
May I roll?
Please go ahead.
I'm not watching.
Not great.
001. If he crit, you should have.
You gain a d100 of
Alright,
sanity.
I've spent a billion luck or something. Actually, it was like 14. I still have some, and I have succeeded.
Okay.
I
By the shit
also
of my
have
teeth.
spent 20 luck to succeed.
Well,
A D50.
Here's what I was wondering. I come back into Dream Berlin.
True.
Which leg is missing?
Okay. So let's go into it.
Yeah.
So first of all, the two of you as you walk forward,
Two years.
you are both going to lose a d10
What?
on a success.
you
When
know how to
did the
play
day
this game.
start?
I've lost 4 since this day started, so I think I didn't really try.
How are you looking?
I think I've lost.
Not great.
That triggers.
What is it? It's 1/5
Fucking.
of your sanity. Is
Yeah.
Wait, a fifth?
Yeah.
Oh, that's like plenty. You still have quite
What's
a
a
few
fifth of
to lose.
50?
10.
It's exactly 10.
It's exactly 10.
And also
It's
it's 6 in 1 hit as well.
Oh, you're right. Doesn't matter. Fair point.
Roll the one.
Excellent. So Percy, in classic Marianne / classic
fucking
Rachel
lose
fashion,
sanity,
you don't
man.
lose sanity. You're fine. They'll get you,
fine.
Rachel.
How much did you lose on your D100?
It's got like a bunch of
73.
eyes.
That's more than you ever had.
Yeah, that's what I started with.
So,
Far out.
can someone pass me the keeper's book that was going on?
No, you've lost privileges.
There it is.
All right.
D100.
Okay. Make an intelligence test for me.
Those are for rolling stats.
Then. Not.
Oh no, fail. I'm really dumb.
Okay,
I failed
so
by 1.
you do not have a mental break. You start to kind of just go, "There's gonna
I'm gonna stab her."
I'm having a dream. This is just a dream. This isn't real. There is something happening. You are not going insane, and neither are you. The two of you still have your faculties
Wait,
around
man.
you. Now, you
Big tentacle monster,
have
whatever.
finally gone permanently insane.
Oops,
Bless.
doodle.
What do you think the source of your insanity really was?
Was it a giant tentacle monster in the sky? Like,
Yeah.
Well,
that's,
at the base of what has been driving you,
Yeah.
failure of, and you've been thinking about a lot about failure, about
Yeah.
failing things,
Well,
failing other
sure.
people, other people failing you.
I guess it all started in the war, right?
Yeah.
When
Makes sense.
I think it was a terrible mistake. Like it was a dumb oversight that lost my leg. So I feel like I've been failing since then. It was a downward spiral that I couldn't get my way out of. Yeah, and that's what made me think that fate is so cruel. Is that it's out of our hands.
Yeah.
We can make all the plans and preparations we like, but we're actually just going to get swept up into this big machine no matter what we do.
So,
King Nietzsche.
I'm going to ask you something very, very complicated, a real test on your chops as an actor. All right?
Oh, don't tell me that.
So, in the dream Berlin right now is
Yeah.
Joseph and Mirrored Joseph.
Yes,
Mirrored Joseph has just gone indefinitely insane.
correct.
He is completely lost, and facing him is the idea that you can do nothing, apathy, complete, utter dejectedness, and as you gaze towards your companions, a realization that, it is best just to put people out of their misery sometimes. And this doesn't mean you're going to go berserk, but this means that is at the forefront of your mind. If you can find a peaceful way to kill them, you will.
What?
Right.
Now,
Get out of here.
there is also regular Joseph, who sacrificed everything to try and help people, who didn't fail, who put others first, and has lived up to the person that he wanted to be. And regular Joseph has done a lot of interesting things while he was there, including finding a lot of lost souls, guiding them, using his train to lead them out, and specifically upon the arrival of this, he sort of put together a little bit of what is happening. So at this moment, he is rushing towards the local metro station of the area where you are, and he has with him, first of all, the one weapon which might be able to damage that giant creature or give it pause, an enormous mortar launcher, put with the faith and hatred of an eternity in the dreamlands within it. And next to him is, let me ask you, David, what would the mirror version of Elsie look like?
Oh, ew. The mirror.
No, the mirror
gross-
version, what she really was inside.
Oh man.
External to all of the things that were inflicted upon her.
Aw, she was a sweet old duck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Literally? Okay.
Yeah, no,
That's what she looks like, man. She's a sweet old duck.
We're not playing RuneQuest.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. She was very. She was very. She cared for others. She was very. She gave when she could. Mostly selfless, except she did things.
What about the whole cocaine bender stuff?
It wasn't the real her, I don't think, at the end of the day. Yeah, no, I think she was a pretty good person ultimately.
So she probably looks more normal. She
Yeah.
looks like she,
There's probably a heavy sort of self-loathing though, given the changes that were made. If that was factored in, because that would screw her up pretty helpfully.
yeah.
Is that kind of why Irma looked normal? Because she was a child, basically had no inner flaws.
I think so.
Perhaps.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Anyway.
Heck.
Interesting stuff. Continuing along. So, the three of you find yourselves here. You have your directives of 2 people.
Hey,
We'll
Joseph.
jump back to your actual character in a second. But what are the 2 of you now doing? What are you thinking? What leaps into your mind? What do you do? And you probably you know Joseph has told you that there is another version of Joseph in here, so that was expressed to you.
Okay.
Is the lady? She didn't come through, did she?
No, you. Oh well, yeah, she's on top of the dome. In the
She's the tentacle monster. Hey. Okay. Cool.
I stab the tentacle on the floor.
Yeah, it sort of pokes slightly, and this goo sort of sprays everywhere. It just smells like that weird life essence goo stuff, and you start like hacking at it around
Yeah.
you. But you know you need something. You need something big. You need something like a bomb.
We need to take that dome down.
Yeah.
That's the only way we can do it.
We have to get there as well. Okay. No, this is doable. Remember last time we were here? How Irma navigated it. If you think hard enough, what you need will be there. And what we need right now is someone who knows the area. I want to try and do dreaming to bring the other Yosef here, who we think has been here for a
Yeah,
time.
make.
I also will do that.
You can make a dream. So, what both of you
What
make
if
a
we
dreaming
invoke the
test
power
with
of
advantage.
friendship?
If you invoke the power of friendship, well, I mean that's
wouldn't
just
say
game
we
over
invoke
right
that,
there. Both of you make a test with advantage.
Feck. Oh. Come on, please give me this. Damn it, I really wanted that crit. Fail. This is hard.
Dreaming is hard.
Oh, actually, no, I don't even have the luck for it. I'm out. All right, no
You're
dice.
close enough to luck. No, all right.
No.
So both of you begin to think, and sort of like, and you can feel to a certain extent that there is a reality there. Like it's
Yeah.
not too far removed. So you know that the other Joseph is around and is probably close, but you are not able to summon him to a nearby position.
Were you closing your eyes?
Yeah.
Can we look?
Are you going to be acting when they close their
yes.
I
eyes?
got a big friggin' sword.
Oh wait, do we have to close our eyes? We're already in the dream.
I was trying real hard.
It was.
It's how I do
I'll
it
tell you
at
what.
least.
I reckon. I'll tell you what. For me, make a power test.
Hell yeah, boy. Oh yeah, boy.
Okay.
Oh, that's a success 3.
Oh, okay. So you managed to open your eyes at just the right time. Who are you going to go for?
I was reaching into Percy's pocket to grab the second revolver.
Oh, no,
Okay,
that was a
so
physical.
you reach in, and all of a sudden, we're going to break into combat.
Oh!
I will.
A couple of things happen.
Right.
My eyes are closed.
First of all, you all hear a couple of things. You hear in the distance the blowing of a train whistle.
Oh my god, I love train.
You can hear screaming and yelling and chaos begin to emerge from around the dome.
Okay, not great.
Not a fan of that.
More train, please.
You can hear you can hear Mira Joseph give his best Golem impression of, as he just completely loses everything. Starts grabbing for your gun. Let's go to Dex order.
Jeez Louise.
Oh, we got a dex order.
We
Hell
go to
yeah.
Dex
Old
order.
man.
Yes.
Take that, you
Old man.
legless little...
Old man.
25.
Old-
I will have prepared my gun though.
No, you
yeah.
wouldn't have.
Yeah, prepared gun has plus 50. So if you have 25, you're at 75.
Whatever, man.
Yep. So
Okay,
I have
let's
my
get
eyes
going
at the
really
right
slow.
time, though.
Wait, so prepare my gun, does that mean I have to fire it?
yeah, if you have to use the gun, that means you can't. So if you want to grab Percy's gun, you'll be
You
going
said
late.
Peacefully. Peaceful
Until you
death.
open your eyes and notice them.
Yeah. So here's
I
how.
needed the peacefulest way is to get you both at once. That's why I needed 2 guns. Otherwise, just line you up.
One in one head and out the other.
Okay, well, you're not. Okay,
So
whatever.
Here's how we're gonna go through it, right? What is your dexterity?
45.
35.
Okay, so you're gonna go first with a prepared weapon.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Okay.
No.
You have the gun there, and you see technically, because you did get a success rate, you did open your eyes. How this would technically work to negate a prepared weapon. Actually, that's to negate a prepared attack. Unfortunately,
No, but I would just say it's advantage if he shoots me because my eyes are closed and no bonus for them.
that makes sense.
And within point range, so 2 levels of advantage.
What would you like to do?
Get some.
No, I was going to Percy. I realized his eyes are open. So I'm going to have to line up the shot as best I can
To get the 2 of them?
To get the 2 of them
Okay,
at once.
so point blank.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever, man. You don't want to.
So point blank will give you a level of advantage, right?
Can I give that up?
No.
Can I give that back to you?
No, you can't.
You giving it up. You can.
Yeah, you can fan the hammer. You can shoot 3 times and put that.
But actually, what it's going to be to line it up, you are going to take a level of disadvantage.
Okay.
Right. So it'll be a straight shot.
Jamie, you got any more disadvantage you can give me right now?
I'm
I
afraid
want to
not.
put them out of their misery.
Yeah.
You can't be like, oh, I didn't mean
My eyes are so
it."
closed. What's your blood, guys? Did we do it?
I'm sorry to say, I mean,
Is really Yosef here? I hear a train coming. It's working.
embarrassingly high firearms.
What's the end of Mice and Men where he's like
Bloody.
Tell me about the rats.
Oh no! Why did you say that?
Tell me
about das rabbits.
What's this? Just
Missed.
You missed? Okay. The bullet fires out, and you manage to jerk back at the last second. You were immediately working up. The bullet flies off, and as soon as this loud noise echoes, you hear outside this screaming noise as the raves outside begin to
aggro the witch.
I missed. I've never been so happy to
Oh
miss
wow! I'm
before.
so proud of you.
Okay.
Person who said you wanted to kill us.
So,
Put out of misery.
next is
Me.
yourself. Yes.
Voice.
Can I
Get him,
go
Bruce.
grab his gun?
Yeah, so you can choose to make a fighting maneuver, which will still be your fighting brawl skill, and it is to disarm him. Now let me ask you something. What is your build?
Can I just 0?
Okay.
Low strength.
Can I just try and shoot the gun out of his head?
Yeah, you can take a level of disadvantage. If you fail, you'll hit him.
I don't care. No,
He's got a full-on golem, like, he looks evil, right? What are the qualms?
Yeah,
You hear me saying I need to get both
we
of them.
know
at
he's
once.
Mirror Yosef.
And
don't we?
in the
Yes.
dream version, does he look different? Is he like, now at last, my true identity?
He probably looks some kind of avenging, kind of like angel
Does he
of
look?
mercy.
Does he look like the superhero?
Oh, totally.
Please,
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
And you are the
He wouldn't
superhero,
like
wouldn't like a hero,
fine.
but you have realized that you cannot save people, so you must kill them instead.
Oh no!
Choice. Yes.
Wow, that's
Fucking
dark
what?
Batman arc.
That is what I should do.
Okay, cool. I am going to shoot Yosef.
Okay.
Sorry.
You spin about and you
On
raise
your
the gun,
side.
and you kind of feel your hand tremble slightly. You've never probably shot someone in anger before.
I'm thinking more like I'm flashing back to the war. Maybe one time when things got a bit real. Maybe I'm thinking. Maybe he's It reminds me of a shell shock.
Yeah, possibly.
Oh yeah, well that's where it started for me.
Yeah. So I'm in just fire.
Make a pistols test.
Yay. Is that handgun?
Handguns, yes.
Am I point blank?
You are point blank, so have a point.
But I thought you said disadvantage because you're aiming.
What?
For the,
You aiming for his
for the
hand?
pistol.
Are you just shooting gun?
I
Or
just
are
want
you
to
shooting
shoot him.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not hitting his pistol. That was a joke. Yes, success.
Okay.
You do have 2 points of armor.
You have an option here. You can attempt to dodge and you will miss your next turn, or you can hope to survive the shot and have another chance at taking him out.
Say it again.
So if you can choose to try and dodge, you'll make a dodge test. If you pass, you apply disadvantage to the shot and it has a chance to miss you.
Right.
Or you can weather the shot and hope that you survive,
Yeah.
and then you'll have another chance to shoot.
No, yeah, I do that.
Okay.
The weather.
All right. So roll for me, please. How much health do you have? So we all aware.
9.
9. Okay.
9.
So this almost certainly will not kill you.
I got 2 armor as well.
Yeah, you got 2 armor. So
Well, if you
yeah.
take 5 major wounds, you make a con check. Or
Yes,
something,
you may pass out. So make roll a d10 for me.
You have
for
to
the
hit me
damage.
with 7.
Oh,
3.
this old thing. Damn.
3. Okay. 3 damage actually just translates to 1. So it catches you right in the shoulder, but the bullet partially deflects, and you don't even see a gout of blood. You sort of just see him scoot to one side and kind of and begin to yell at the top of your lungs. What would you like to do?
Stab.
All right. You look forward. You dart stepping in. You're
What's your
practiced.
I'm not sure. How do I
It's
figure
probably
that out?
0 there.
Add,
Let's just make sure.
add for me your size and your strength.
Size and strength is 105.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
okay,
average.
yeah.
Alright, you stab. Swang. Success.
Success. All right, you dive forward and you attempt to stab frantically. Now you have 2 options here. You can try and dodge, or you can riposte using your
I'm
firearms.
not in a dodging mood.
Okay.
Not today.
Make a firearms test.
Oh, I'm sorry. barely a hit.
It's a success. No, it's fine.
It's a success.
I win on a success.
So success. If they're both at the same level,
Attacker will take it.
Attacker takes it.
Oh, hurrah!
Swing. 10 points of damage.
Okay. So you are spun forward. You turn. You see him approaching. You get the shot. It goes off. It rings in your ear, and then you do 10 points of damage subtracted to 8.
That's how many hit points I got left.
Exactly 8.
Meet the floor.
Okay. And suddenly out of nowhere, plunging straight into the center of your chest, a sword comes, which comes right out the other side. You kind of look down for a second, look up.
Go to sleep now. It is only a dream. And push you down on the ground.
All right.
I do that.
All right. You land. Should you say or do anything as you go, or just fall quiet?
I'll just leave it there. It's all good.
Joseph sinks to the ground and collapses and lies. There's a sort of a moment of anticipation, but he lies there completely unmoving, staring straight forward.
Give him
The two of you share a look. You didn't know him super well.
No.
You did. You'll need to make a sanity check for me, Percy.
No.
You're going to lose a d4 of sanity.
Sorry.
Deal strikes.
Wow.
Oh man.
And you kind of, once again, you're using your superpowers to
But it's
avoid
not
sanity.
really him.
And Joseph's, it isn't. It's a mirage. It's a weird, and Joseph is lying there. What are you thinking at this point as you kind of pull back with your sword?
I didn't want to kill him, but I think I'm pretty practical at this point. I was pretty determined that I was going to do whatever it took to do this. So there will be casualties.
You're still hearing the yelling from outside now. The howling continues.
We need to go.
And you can hear the train whistle now firing like.
That train.
Yeah, I was about to say. I
Do you
grabbed
want
his
it or
gun.
I'm happy to grab
You
it.
take it then. Take it.
Yeah.
With nice suit.
Do you remember? I remember when we were first here. Didn't real Yosef summon the train?
He was looking for one at least.
Good. That has to be him then.
Yeah,
Right?
I have no doubt. Let's run for the train.
So the two of you turn and you can hear people coming up the steps at this stage. You have two options. You go past them and try and fight, or out the window and I'll take jump text, or you'll take some damage.
Fucking run out the window. Let's
went to
go.
the Olympics.
You're
Okay,
holding
jump
two
forward.
guns. I feel like you're
leave out.
obligated. You're obligated.
Dear me.
You jump out the
You
window.
shove them sort of into your pocket and the two of you tear towards that balcony. Make jump rolls for me.
What's that?
I think it was James Bond.
It was.
Which I hope
You
isn't
said jump? What was
Jump.
jump?
Didn't you almost go to the Olympics?
With 15 points. I'm not spending it. I
I
failed.
failed.
And the two of you leap down. Both of you like slam and like try to pull yourself up. You're both going to take a d4 of damage.
Oh, dude. Leave me alone. 2 points.
Can I land on my guns to?
And this will go through
Now
armor.
these guns. Bam, bam.
Wait,
that's
so
nice.
don't minus anything.
Unfortunately not. And you sort of heavily. Joseph, how much did you take?
2 damage.
2. The two of you both like stumble, begin limping off. You can see these shadows slow at first, then quicker as they begin to come around, and you begin to tear forward, running. You can see the descent down into the metro station, and you can hear yelling from down there now, kind of like a come on! You can hear Joseph's voice.
No, we sprint.
You tear down, coming into the metro station, going through, running, and then you see the train is like already starting. All the doors are open, and you can see in the conductor's train, the door is sort of swinging wide. You can see a version of Joseph once again surviving in.
Hey, that's. Ooh, but
Does he have a
we just-
conductor hat?
We just.
Yeah, what does he look like? How have you survived in Dream Berlin?
Oh man, I guess the clothes are a bit more ragged. Yes, I will have fashioned a terrible conductor's hat out of it. The leg is on the right leg. The wooden leg is on the right leg, which is to say the correct leg. And I think he's like fashioned some kind of apparatus to make it like easier to drive. He's got like extenders and
Well, I'll actually remind you, as you tore off away in accepting that you would live in the dream, your leg regrew.
oh,
Do you remember
got that?
Yeah, so you were actually standing tall and proud.
Oh my gosh! So like instead, I like kick it out a little bit, like, lean on it as you board. You know.
There's a moment of like heroicness, and then something. These creatures are tearing down. You dive in, and the train goes. You have to slam the door shut as they're diving in. They're trying to get at you. They're
Get out of here,
screech. And the train
Mind
begins
the
to,
gap before boarding the train. Mind
All
the gap.
clear.
yeah, you can take a
1d4
d6 times. You can take a d6 times 10. Back your decks.
D6
10.
10.
We have 9 minutes left of this campaign.
Back to
man.
75,
Remember
baby.
to touch
Dude,
on
that
the
leg
mighty
was. But you
at the start of your journey.
Please clear.
And as the train
The doors will
begins to
open
just
on that.
roll forward, bursting through, the train goes and you sort of turn towards each other. You can see there is a woman sitting to one side. She looks fairly normal, except she appears there's what look like self-inflicted wounds along her eyes, and she appears to have scratched them out, but appears to be able to look and see.
What is that?
I'm a friend. Don't worry, I'm a friend, and you would
I
recognize
recognize
Elsie.
her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me kill her.
We are all friends here.
Well, the other one of you that we read recently is not.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear. I thought I did my best to make sure he would fight a good fight.
Maybe you did, but
He did something.
extreme circumstances. Can you get this thing to the center?
Limited Express.
The coolest line ever.
No, it's limited, not full. We do have to make stops.
No, one stop.
We will be
Directly underneath that thing.
stopping at Clifton Hills.
And we're going to have to ride the train on the top.
I mean, pretty much. We are rapidly heading towards a final climactic moment. And once again, with these moments coming against elder gods, fighting all this craziness, the mechanics don't really play out for here, and they are not particularly meant to be here. So instead, I would like you all to imagine as you've jammed in everything. You're sending the train at top speed towards the center of this dome. This great creature is still there, and as you get closer and closer, you see a looming shadow behind the same creature that you saw exploding out of the ground. And looming high, this colossus, this great beast, this great being, as the train approaches and comes out into the open onto one of the raised sections of rail. And as you tear towards it, you're all standing on the roof. You have a mortar launcher set up.
Okay.
Can I get a final vignette of what all of you would look like heading into potential doom?
I'm a fencing master.
Are you wearing your
Yeah,
top hat still?
I like a bit goofy.
Yeah.
But
Have you got like your sword raised, directing as a charge?
yeah, I was a cavalry officer. I mounted the fucking train. I'm beckoning onwards.
Yeah.
We lead them.
We have both guns raised.
Yep.
Nice.
You're crouched next to a mortar launcher.
Yes.
Who's driving the fucking train?
You've jammed it forward, essentially.
Yes, yeah, that's it. One launcher on, squatting down with both legs, stretching giving a knee a good stretch, still showing up a little bit. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
Oh, Christ.
As Elsie kind of watches, terrified, hands shaking slightly. As everything kind of fades to black, can I ask you to finally make an artillery test to fire your mortar launcher?
Why, I thought you'd never ask. No, this is the first time I've fired my quote-unquote since like one of the first sessions perfectly maintained.
Oh
mortar
yeah,
launcher.
watch it not work.
No, this is the dream version. This is the mirror
we'll
version of the
see.
mortar
Yeah,
launcher.
it's like made of
see.
This is the mortar launcher's true
Gold.
self.
This is what the model launcher believes it is.
Yes.
We should just. The model launcher! What? How?
What are we looking at? Fumble or crit?
It's a fucking. It's a crit fail.
Perfect.
That's a 100.
100!
The seminal roll is a 100. And with that, we'll wait for you to recover, if you can.
There's no recovering from
I'm
that.
good. They can sue me.
Last
Alright.
roll of the campaign to fire a mortar launcher into an elder god is a 100.
Holy shit. Phenomenal.
That's not good, yo.
And
I think it's very apt.
Do you want to push it?
He can't.
Like you can't push
He's
a
stuck.
fumble.
with that,
Crab brain.
oh my
You
god.
like a fumble?
No,
Probably not this fumble.
you can't like fumbles either, I think.
Joseph
We will-
is gone.
Fade to black.
You bastard.
Oh, boo!
And,
And the
there's a
world
little
will fade.
epilogue. Don't worry. All right, Who wants to go first? Percy or Klaus?
You do. You.
Mate.
Are you? Oh.
I'm the richest. I go first.
You remember hearing Klaus say no, you remember an explosion, you remember fire, you remember falling, you remember the train coming off and tumbling towards the ground, you remember a pit falling straight through and falling deeper and deeper and deeper eternally into dream forever and ever and ever. And you wake up and you're in your bed. And the sun is shining outside and you can hear birds singing.
Like that moment of like when you're processing the dream, and I throw off the clothes and I run to the window and I look out towards Berlin.
You look out towards the city, and you can see it looks vastly different. Bigger, there are taller buildings, there is more industry, you can see more cars on the street. It is as if some this great mechanized force has been set in motion in the city, completely changing its face forever. And as you kind of take a couple of steps back,
and people are like, "Boy, what year is it?" You're going with the newspaper.
You tear downstairs. And you can see your staff moving around. You don't recognize any of them. So they start to say, sir, you must be careful. You don't want to overexert yourself. And you sort of strain and grasp and grab and manage to throw a paper onto the table. And you can see that the year is 1935.
17 years.
And as you sort of gaze at that...
7 years.
7 years.
7 years.
7 years. You
44.
You
What are
sort
they
of
talking
begin
about
to,
this?
you begin to shake, and you look up, and you see yourself in a mirror, and you are aged, but of course, perhaps worse is that unmistakably your skin is made of porcelain.
Oh, what the shit!
No.
Bring the fuck up.
Percy?
Yeah, okay. Go next, cool, whatever. I'm saying. Oh no, not again. No, sorry. You tell the story.
Fuck, we fucked this up.
Hey, look, 0 for 2. Can't get any worse than that.
Berlin truly is a wicked city, and for people without wealth, it is much harder to survive as a being with porcelain skin.
Percy wakes up dead.
Percy will wake up. You will have returned, as you planned, to Sweden, and you will be... you didn't go back to your family because you couldn't face them. In fact, you have become once more a vagrant, only this time with your body eroding away after life on the streets. You have but one hand left, shattered legs, which you keep in a bag around yourself, and your mind and your entire body is fading and deteriorating, and surely will not last the rest of the year. As for Joseph, well, there's lots of cool things about Dreamlands and trains, but that's for another time. And with the mortar launching exploding, I'm afraid that we'll have to draw the session to an end there, and the campaign, with a resounding classic Cthulhu 0 for 2. That's Berlin, the Wicked City. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh my God.
Thank you, everybody.
It's fine. It was funnier than what the alternative would have been.
I thought that was great.
They win. They go
A
home.
100
Life
or a
is
1 were the
fine,
only
whatever.
were the final rolls I would have accepted. I'm so glad.
Whatever,
Okay.
Disney.
Thank you so much for joining us. That is Call of Cthulhu, where always things can go wrong, and when you leave everything to hinge on a single roll and it comes out with a 100, that tends to be what's happened. No shooting the moon this time. It is just terror and horror and the success of Shub McGruff. Of course, we could go into detail about how Ishtar eventually does leave, returning to the Dreamlands, but the madness that she leaves in Berlin ushers in an era of terror and of action and events that will ultimately lead towards some very dark things happening in the future of Germany. But that is just one of the optional endings. There are many other endings that can occur. If you would like to see...
Let's go back. Let's give it another go.
Let's load game, make that roll again. If you would like to see what the other endings are, you should buy Berlin, the Wicked City and check it out. There's also another scenario in there that we did not play called Trek Film. And look, Thanks for being with us for the campaign. We will be back next week. Where we'll be doing a special Christmas episode of the Stream of Chaos, on such a lovely high-end note there. Man. And we'll have a bunch of news about what's coming next, all kinds of really awesome, exciting stuff. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, David. Jackson, I'm so sorry, but thank you all the same.
Thanks, I guess.
Great to have you all here. Remember, if you haven't used your Twitch, your Amazon Prime subscription, you can subscribe to us if you have an Amazon Prime subscription. We appreciate every subscription immensely, and we will be back next week. Also, you can catch all of the videos for these up on YouTube, and we will see you next time. Somewhat worse for wear ourselves, but we'll be there. Thanks very much.
Hot dog.